My husband hooked up with my mom while I was pregnant.
Sounds like a 2-for-1 deal right there.
My husband is cheating on me. I know this for certain. He's doing all the things a cheating spouse would do, like hooking up with your mom. He has taken off his location tracker. He's been ignoring me, staying out late with work buddies, has all the excuses for everything. I know what this is. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Yep, we've seen it time and time again. Oh, babe, I didn't just turn my phone off to, enjoy myself.
I just forgot to click pause on Hinge. I didn't know that it would still keep my profile.
Your mom came on to me, man.
Hey, when I told my mom about my suspicions, she dropped a bombshell. My younger sister, Emma, has been acting the exact same way. Are they also hooking up with your sister?
Who knows? This man must be hot.
I have 2 sisters. Ray, married with kids, and Emma, freshman in college, still lives at home. Mom says Emma has been going out at the same times and being secretive about her whereabouts, all matching my husband's patterns. Emma and my husband have always gotten along, but looking back, it seems like they get along too well.
Is the sister also? This is insane.
What does too well mean?
Yeah. My husband and I are expecting our first child. Oof. And our 5-year marriage was solid until these past few months when things started to get rocky. Then this happened. When I confronted Emma this morning, she exploded. Called me an insecure witch for even suggesting it. I told her Mom told me. And now my mom's furious because I threw her under the bus. Ray doesn't want any part of this mess. Am I the a-hole? And there is an update. Oh my goodness.
Why do people post these kind of things to Am I the A-hole?
Yeah.
When clearly
not. I mean, I'm also, again, the title has said the mother is the culprit here.
Well,
so now it feels like we've got multiple culprits.
A few things.
Yeah.
You got to consider here. One, how alike does the mother and the daughter look?
Yeah, do they all?
Because after a few drinks, you might be
gets
thinking
a bit blurry.
You're talking to your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 2,
you just look a little bit more old.
Yeah. 2, how hot is this mom?
Hot.
Like, give me a hot mom.
Anne Hathaway.
She's not a mom.
Yes, she is.
Jennifer Lawrence.
She's a
Anne
mom.
Hathaway is absolutely a mom.
She's not a mom.
She's got multiple kids.
Anne
Name
Hathaway has
Anne
kids?
Hathaway, yes.
I'm gonna give you Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence, I don't
Scarlett
believe
Johansson.
is a mom.
Yes, she is. She is. She is. Oh my.
I didn't know that. That's news to me. But Anne
Dude, she
Hathaway is for
was.
sure a mom. But there is an update.
Why do you think he did this?
Because he sucks.
Come on, there's got to be something more than just that.
Well, we're going to find out.
Oh my gosh.
It's now really late where we live. My husband has not come home. He has not answered his phone. I texted him multiple times and I know he has read the messages, but he won't answer his phone. I was going to talk to him about this when he got back, but he's not back yet. I don't know if he's coming back. I'm 37 weeks pregnant. I have preeclampsia and my blood pressure is skyrocketing. I'm trying to calm down, but how can I? To everyone who said to get a PI, I've been on unpaid FMLA for the last month because of my BP complications. I have no money for anything other than this child. All of my savings are going towards my kid's future, and if there are further complications and medical bills, a PI is not in my budget. To the people who are telling me that I jump to conclusions, but also are telling me to get a divorce in the same breath, isn't a divorce also jumping to conclusions? Divorce is not in the budget right now either. I know how much lawyers cost.
Hi, I'm Saul Goodman.
Dang, man.
Dude, PI, you just need a free time.
You just need a free day and
figure it out.
And a car.
I did some PI work.
It's true.
My pastors.
On our friends.
Oh, that too. Yeah. I set my friends up on a blind date and I stalked them to make sure it was going
He's
well.
investigating his own thing.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
need this.
He's
Let me
like, I
investigate
need
this.
to make sure that this is working out because my reputation is on the line.
See, it was going well, but now talking to both parties,
Yeah.
it's not like either of them are committed to the cause.
Dang,
it's like
man.
we have options, and I'm like, guys, what?
Riley?
Guys.
Riley, you can only bring a horse to water.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, I'm matchmaking in LA, which is probably the worst place to matchmake.
So true.
Actually,
Yes.
Nope.
Yeah.
A cemetery is the worst place to matchmake.
Well,
Mm.
Dead
update
people.
3. My life is completely upended. It has been over 24 hours since I confronted my younger sister Emma about cheating with my husband. I was 100% sure my husband was cheating with her based on what our mother told me yesterday. It turns out I was completely wrong.
Oh.
Oh no.
So it's not the mom?
No, it was not the sister.
Oh, she thought it was Emma.
'cause- So the mom told her, it came to her and said like, oh, Emma's been doing such and such and like disappearing at the
I
same
see.
time your
Okay,
husband has.
I'm good.
And OP's like, it's not my sister.
Oh, then who is it?
Uh-oh. My husband did not come home last night. I know he read my text messages because they are marked red. Why do you even have read receipts on? Put them off. Turn those off. He ignores all of my calls, though. I had no idea where he was. I got about 2 hours of sleep last night, and that was only because I was utterly exhausted. I woke up to my older sister Ray calling. I answered it. Ray lives in the cul-de-sac at the end of our parents' street, about 5 houses down. Ray is also a stay-at-home mom. She started by apologizing over and over again, which just made me nervous. And when I pressed her, she said she was sorry for not telling me.
Dang. No.
Uh-oh. The blind one says guilty party is always trying to throw shade to get you off their scent.
See, what doesn't make sense to me
Yeah.
is with women, I feel like it's easier for a woman to find a partner than it is for a man to find a partner. Because a woman can go to someone and be like, hey, I want you. And a guy would be like, all right. But a guy
What?
kind of has to do a little convincing.
That's so false.
That's so false.
Really?
A woman
Have
will
you
go,
ever
a
been
man
hit
will
on
be
by a
like,
woman?
hey, I want you. And then a woman's like, yeah, I like you. And then the man's like, ha, I actually don't want a relationship.
Oh,
That is classic man.
I don't.
That's not just me. That's everybody.
I don't know.
Riley, have you ever been hit on by a woman? Like you're like a woman comes out to you randomly, and you're like, "Hey, I want you,"
Yeah,
and you're like, "Ooh, no thanks."
No.
exactly.
I had a woman tickle my butt once. That
Yeah,
was
that's
weird.
messed up. That's not okay. When she knew for certain that my husband was cheating with our mother.
No, mama.
Oof.
Both.
He went to the source.
I will admit I barely remember what was said because of the shock, but I'm trying my best to write it to remember it for the future.
Wow.
Ray said that this has been going on for a few months, so that would be before me and him were actually married. She says that Emma would leave to go to night classes or hang out with friends, and about 20 minutes later, my husband would pull up to our parents' house. And also, it seems like her mom is still married, because parents' house sounds like there's a dad there.
What?
Wow. And also the fact that OP's sister knew this and didn't tell her is terrible. That just like such a betrayal.
Hey, that's one way to impress your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Dude, what? What do you got to have
Yikes.
going on in order
Yikes.
to pull the mother?
Hot.
Just like
Hotness.
a boy next door kind of thing. Also, people are like, we're going to let Riley slide with that comment. What comment? Huh?
Who's tickling your butt?
Oh, I was at a club one time.
Yeah.
And this,
So he was unconsensually tickled.
yeah.
Not cool.
She got a little.
He would stay there for an hour or two and then leave before Emma got back. Ray said this happened multiple nights a week now, whenever Emma and our dad are gone. Well, I want to know if Emma also knew. Because she was super defensive. And maybe she was defensive because she was like, I literally would never do that.
Or
She knew about it. No,
she's also in on it.
that's gross.
And the dad's also in on it.
I don't like that. They can't all be in on it.
It's a
That's
whole
disgusting.
family affair.
No, but at different
Literally.
times. At different times.
I don't know, maybe. Oh, yeah, definitely
At different times.
Nah. They would both know by now if it wasn't.
Yikes.
Unless they want to keep that secret
Ugh.
down.
Our dad works long shifts at night. He would have no idea. We know mom probably has location tracking for Emma, which is how they knew where she was. We don't know if Emma took that off yet. Emma obviously is not happy with me, so I can't ask her. I think you just go to Emma and say, I'm so sorry for accusing you. I just found out mom is the person who's cheating on my husband or with my husband. My bad. She blamed it on you. And then you unite against mother.
There we go.
The most stinging thing is that my mom went out last night and didn't return until the morning before dad got home for work. Ray texted her asking if everything was okay, and mom said that a friend of hers was sick and needed comforting.
I got you.
Emma.
Sick. I mean, sometimes I get sick.
Disgusting.
Emma also did not come home last night, but that's probably because she's pissed and hurt and needed to be around friends. I will apologize to her, but I can't without telling her what's going on. Ray keeps apologizing, saying that she just didn't want to get involved and it wasn't her business. Come on. It absolutely is your business.
Dude.
You I hate her. I do not like her. It's absolutely your business. That is your sister. I understand it's your mother. That makes it 100% your business.
It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?
If you are a friend or family member, give yourself permission to tell that friend or family member they're being cheated on.
Yeah.
Dude, what?
It's 100% your business.
That makes no sense. If you're an acquaintance and you only seen someone once or twice.
And you don't have like full information on what's going on. Yeah, maybe it's not your business.
But even if
it's your sister.
Also give yourself permission if you do see something going on and they are an acquaintance, if you talk to them, be like, hey, I noticed this, not trying to start anything, but I want you to be up to date on it.
Exactly.
You have to.
She also called me an a-hole for confronting Emma and says that by doing that, I'm tearing the family apart. She has forbidden me from telling Dad, saying she'll never forgive me. I'd never forgive her.
Yeah.
She kept this from you. I'd be like, oh, now you're giving me orders? No, I'm telling Dad. It's absolutely his business to know, and it's my business to tell him.
Gotta tell Dad.
Absolutely tell Dad. Your sister's gone. She's done. I would be so betrayed. I feel like Dad has the right to know. He does, in the same way that you had the right to know. I know how it feels to have someone do this to you. Yeah, you directly know how it feels. And to have the information withheld. I'm not going to say anything until I have concrete evidence because I've learned my lesson. But would I be the a-hole if I told my dad and Emma what is happening? I think you'd be the a-hole if you didn't tell them.
Yeah.
You have to. And there is another update, but what do you think?
Collect more evidence.
Yeah.
Have a solid case.
Sure.
Be ready for divorce. Get your ducks in a little row and get after it. You're going to have to play. You're going to have to put on a little acting. But get prepared.
I think also OP talked a lot about not having the finances to, for a lawyer or anything.
Yeah.
I think what you do is you go and tell your dad, and I'm sure, depending on his financial circumstances, I'm sure he'd be willing to team up with you.
I don't know, because it seems the dad is working long, late night shifts,
right.
so he might be.
Well, he might be in like a medical
sense, yeah.
Medical field.
I wouldn't mind working through the night. I already do.
You already do. You work through the day and through the night. There's a fourth update, folks.
Wow, it's because you guys. It's because of y'all.
It's for you.
I'm gonna take a day off one of these days,
mm-hmm.
and you can't bug me anymore.
You just turn your phone off, and everyone's like, Riley, and then you come back, and you have like, we hire a PI to track you down. You can have a day off if we can't find you. It's like ultimate hide and seek.
No, this was gonna happen the second I move out. I'm gonna have a sick day.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
And we'll never know.
You'll never actually know if I'm sick or not.
Riley and I can't take sick days.
You can. You have.
In last year when we're doing live streams every day, and that was only when I was like I had a stomach bug and I was literally like vomiting all day.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have not taken a sick day.
Did I take care of you?
No, Sam did.
God did.
Okay.
But that was before we were like toy. There's an update though. I've had nothing but time to think. I've been alone in my house, reading comments, figuring out how I'm going to do everything. I'm overwhelmed and I'm fatigued inside and out, and am too tired to freak out anymore. By the way, don't freak out, but you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left to the story, but do you have any final thoughts?
The Wi-Fi is pissing me off. Oh, that's my
final thought.
No, when it comes to stories like this, I need to see pictures of the family.
Yeah.
So I can make sure it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we only have the text of everything. Other than that, this family does not have your back. I cannot imagine my dad cheating on my mom with my girl. That's just so messed up.
So disgusting.
It's like
it's really icky. I really hate it. I really hate like 5 years of marriage, a kid, and your mom does that. Like what? You're not a mom.
How does that
You're a
even make
demon.
sense?
You're a demon.
Dude, my ex's dad went on a date with her grandma before she met her mom.
What? Wait.
Ooh.
Huh?
Is that
That's
how he
how
met?
old he
Is that
was.
how he met her
Your
mom?
ex's
Oh,
dad
Yep.
went on a date with her grandma.
man. Dude, he had no
And then
business
met her
talking about
mom.
you, man. It's weird.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's a little bit left to the story, though. My soon-to-be ex-husband called me. He sounded like he had been on a bender and was hungover, slurring his words, repeating things. He said he's sorry, that he's a piece of crap, that he loves me, that he's on his way home. He turned on his location and did a check-in, so I know he's on the highway headed towards my house, but I don't know where he was. Our mother has been unusually silent. Ray apologized again over text. I don't care anymore. I haven't talked to my dad or Emma. I'm not going to until I have something concrete. I don't want to be that person again. Addressing some comments, Ray does use our mother for childcare. Could be a reason why she doesn't want to rock the boat. Probably the reason, actually. This is not the first time our mother has cheated on our dad. Ugh, she sucks. I remember back when I was around 11, they separated for a while. It was very traumatic for all of us. I have an appointment with my OB later this week where we will discuss inductions. My BP has been hovering around 155 or 87 and 145 or 80. Swelling has been worse. I'm monitoring my health along with the baby. The cul-de-sac is not a trailer park, though I did chuckle. It may as well be one now. I am sure that in order to record him, I need his consent. I'll work on that whenever he gets home. I have thoughts about how to do it. I'm trying to be smarter, and OP, I mean, if you live in a one-party consent state, then you don't need it. So look up your state rules.
Everybody, just go ahead and look up your state rules real
Look up your
quick.
state laws, because like New York is a one-party consent state.
What about this state?
I think we're two-party.
Is California a one-party or two-party consent state? Oh my gosh, just
Dude,
look it up.
just
Do your
look it
job.
up.
I hate
look
my
it
phone.
up.
Two-party.
Right. That's why a lot of people
How
go
do
to
you-
New York.
But how do you tell someone you're recording,
You go, hey, I'm recording. Is that okay?
but then they're thinking something's up? Can you tell them at the end of it? Like, hey, by the way, I recorded all this. Does that have to be before it?
I don't know. I guess you could do it at the end. Be like, hey, at some point you have to tell them, and then if they say no, then you have to delete it if you want to like post it or something.
Then think about that in the spicy sleep sense. You'd want it beforehand, right?
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
afterwards.
Absolutely.
Mm.
That is a problem. Yeah.
So probably before, guys. Always get consent before you do your action.
Agreed. But folks, that was the end of that story. So we're going to get into the next one. My disabled mom keeps criticizing my wife, so I'm cutting contact with her.
Wow, it looks like you need to take a look at yourself.
My wife, female 27, and I, male 28, always take our moms to a restaurant on Mother's Day weekend with our 2 kids. And we'll sometimes do something fun afterwards, such as a movie or hanging out in the backyard. However, things have been difficult for my mom since my father passed away some years ago. And it led to a relapse in drinking that she stopped for some time when he was alive, along with some depression too. By the way, this comes from Throwradolescent. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, things began to get better when one of her friends invited her to church, and she attended for almost 2 years, which coincided with her drop in booze again, along with improvements to her mental health,
Nice.
as she got more involved with midweek classes and church support groups.
Yeah, I think this just brings a community aspect to her life.
Yeah. However, that came with some negative side effects that led to me putting up boundaries with her. My mom wasn't raised religious growing up, but she began to change upon going, which later led to me making this post. One of the earliest things she began doing was criticizing the radio in my car for not being Christian music when driving to her doctor's appointments. I only want to hear the Christian rock music.
Dude, that was
Come
me
on.
back home. My mom only listens to Christian music. And now she listens to like Leonard Skinner with my brothers. And I'm like, why didn't you do that with me growing up?
I get to listen to Leonard Skinner?
I never got to listen to Freebird until I was 18.
That sucks, man. It's
Imagine
rough.
living that kind of life.
That's rough. Couldn't do it. But when she criticized my wife for not bringing our kids to her church's Sunday school, my wife told me, and I told my mom, that while we're happy that church has helped her depression and cutting back on booze, we personally disagree with indoctrinating kids. But she didn't like my answer. She said I owed it to her to take them because her husband wasn't saved and wouldn't be in heaven with her, and she didn't want the same for her grandchildren. Girl.
Oh no.
But when I held firm on my stance, she said I was failing as a parent before we eventually dropped it.
Oh no.
Girl, your faith is your own, and I'm glad it's helping you, but don't try and push it on your family.
Yeah, and you also have to like read the Bible a little bit more here.
Yeah, girl.
'Cause if you
live
want-
it. Show
Yeah.
them that it's great. You don't,
Show them
don't-
exactly. If you want them to be really about it, you have
Yeah.
to live how Jesus lived, and then they'll be like, "Wow, that looks great. I want to check that out."
You don't have to push them.
But pointing the finger at them,
Doesn't work.
it's gonna waste energy.
But when she criticized my wife's parenting for almost an hour while at a Little League game for our sons some months ago, a game I wasn't present for that also made her cry, that led to us deciding to set boundaries and taking a break from driving / telling her about sporting events for our kids. Yeah. Our decision was also based on Mom's newfound willingness to pester my wife via text about who she'd be voting for and why she'd be voting right for the first time after explaining how she wrongly voted left before going to church. My wife told her nicely that she didn't feel comfortable discussing politics, but Mom ignored her and continued telling her who she should vote for.
Dude.
Yikes.
Oh
Yeah, you got to
gosh.
set up really strong boundaries with this person because your mom is going to keep trying to insert herself and tell you guys what she thinks is right as if it's like the word of God, and it's not.
Dude.
It's not.
Dude.
She found this late and she's now like, well, now I found this. It's absolutely truth and you have to believe me.
Dude, like, this might piss people off, but when you can, the politics and Christianity are the same thing in the same lane, you have to think the same on that. It's so sad to see because, like, you're just speaking two different languages saying it's, the right, it's all right. And oh, dude, it's so mind-boggling. That's so sad to see this
I think
happen.
let's just
like,
keep it out.
Uh,
If you can't be respectful, just don't talk about it.
The real problem here is critical thinking because I don't think the mother is actually challenging herself to think on her own.
No, I mean she was at this low period of her life. She
Yeah.
goes to church. They're probably saying this thing and she's just spouting it right back out.
Yeah.
She's not thinking about anything. She's
And
just
if
like,
it-
whoop, they're telling me this.
And the thing that bothers me is like, as Christians, you're supposed to read, scripture and everything and then interpret it the way that you think and let God speak to you through that instead of letting the preacher speak to you and then you're like, okay, that's what we're going to say. And
The literal entire point of, if you look at like history, religious history, the entire point of the Bible being translated into different languages was so that people could, like lay people who didn't speak Latin could read it and be like, oh, this is what the Bible's saying. I'm going to interpret it. That's the whole point.
Yeah. So
That's the whole point. Unless you're going to church in Latin, you're supposed to know what you're talking about. And then, you're not supposed to. You're doing it wrong, girl.
Yeah, it's so sad.
That finally brings me to Mother's Day. When we set boundaries, we took a break from bringing her to our kids' sporting event, but decided to keep holiday gatherings, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Memorial, July 4th, etc., until she improved. But as of this weekend, Mom called my wife and told her that she didn't want to be included in Mother's Day activities because her church was boycotting Mother's Day. After the pastor's wife spoke about how too many women skip church to go to breakfast when God should always come first no matter the holiday. Sorry, they're boycotting Mother's Day because people are going to brunch?
Dude, that's...
Maybe you should make your Mother's Day mass better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that because if you don't have your people fired up to hear what you got to say in church, then you're doing something wrong.
Also, do you think that boycotting Mother's Day is going to make the moms want to come to your Mother's Day mass?
It kind of looks like you don't support women, not going to lie.
That's what it
is-
feels like.
And most importantly, mothers. You don't support mothers?
Which, I'm sorry, mothers are pretty important in Christianity.
Yeah, because if you don't have a mother, you don't have a population.
So for that reason, her church was having a Mother's Day luncheon after service where they wanted mothers to invite their families to church for the holiday. And she wanted us to come with the kids to hear a message about mothers from God. But when my wife said she would talk to me about it, Mom criticized her for always having to ask me and said she needed to grow a spine, which I don't appreciate. She also told her that our kids needed to be in church and that she wouldn't spend other holidays with us unless we came. And I'm quite aggravated with her at the moment. So in conclusion, here is my question. My wife thinks we should cut her off permanently, but I'm in charge of driving her to doctor's appointments along with getting her medication because she can't drive. So that makes it slightly complicated to cut her off since her health depends on us. She says she doesn't want a nurse or retirement home. But if it weren't for that, I'm right there with her. My wife offered the idea of only me keeping contact for the sole purpose of medication and doctors only, but she's also unsure and suggested counseling on the matter, and I'm open to doing that together. But as we're looking into counseling options, I wanted to ask Reddit, in case anyone else is a caretaker for a different person, and how to navigate when the relationship changes. And I appreciate any and all advice.
So,
What do you think?
this mother has decided to take, change her life for better, in her opinion. And she's trying to do the things that she thinks is right. And she wants her life to reflect it in all aspects, even with their son, and being like, hey, this is how I live my life. I think you should live your life this way too, because this is the better way. I just think she's missing the critical thinking aspect of all of this and not really understanding how her words have weight on her family and how she may sound a little crazy here. And
Well, I think that she's just willing to sacrifice her relationship with her son and her grandchildren to be right,
yeah.
which is never the point. Like, again, grew up Catholic. That's not what the scripture, that's not what Jesus was saying.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
It's like she says that she's preaching this doctrine, but is not being respectful and is not actually listening to the doctrine. She's just listening to what the preacher's saying, which is probably a very, very specific interpretation.
Yeah. And it just bothers me too, because a lot of churches these days are more about the business rather than actually seeking out like what the Bible is actually trying to say. So like you also have that filter on top of it too. And I don't know. It's all in good intention, but just executed wrongly.
Very wrong.
Yeah.
Edit 1 hour after making my post, it has already been worth it. Others suggested having my mom be driven to the doctor and medications from church friends or an Uber, and I hadn't thought of that before this post. Yeah, I was about to say, is there anyone who can drive your mom else? Like maybe you can organize that, but you still limit contact? Because she's just not being respectful, and that's not okay. My wife has considered cutting her off in the past and blocking her, but changed her mind every time due to my mom being in a wheelchair and wanting to try and be the bigger person. She is now ready to block her and move on, and the only reason I didn't cut her off sooner was due to her being in a wheelchair until receiving suggestions to tell her to let her church friends or an Uber driver instead of us, so we no longer have to tolerate it. Mom was never like this before Dad passed, and she started going to church, but she kept harping on how she realized that her husband wouldn't be in heaven after getting saved herself. So she wanted her grandchildren to go to heaven, said we owed it to her to bring them to church. And when I told her we disagree with indoctrinating children, especially with how Christianity can screw with your mind if they ever want to come out in the future, she called me selfish among other things, and she seems to be driven from losing her husband.
Oh man, and that's like not how Christianity is set up. It's set up with like a willing intention, like I want to get to know Jesus more, thus like I'll go to heaven and all that stuff. If your grandkids are forced into that, that's not how it's built out to be. It's dude, she's not getting it. She is lost because of her husband.
Mm-hmm. I think this church has become an unhealthy coping mechanism for her emotional trauma of losing her husband after she refused counseling for her depression when we suggested way back closer to Dad's passing. Here's what's crazy though. Her whole personality changed in under 2 years of going to that church and becoming a Christian. It can happen. I know some people, I won't name names, but I know some people who, or I didn't see this, but my parents saw this transition of becoming very, very religious, and you especially depending on the church that you go to. You can go down a path where you think that you're the only person who's right and everyone else who's not wrong, who's not listening to you is going to hell. And it's why are we having that mindset instead of actually living out the doctrine of love?
Yeah, and loving on people.
That's the main point. She's become fixated on hell and wanting our grandkids to go to church so that our grandkids would go to heaven and not be separated from her like Dad, who passed away unsaved. And she even flipped her political parties too and became very outspoken about it when she used to hardly talk politics and was somewhat reserved. And there is an update. So
you can really tell that if someone it's one thing to find a religion and be all about that religion, but it's another thing to find that religion and also
change who you are.
Politics on it. It's you're just listening to what these new people have to say and you're not really critically thinking.
Yeah.
If it's intentional and it's I'm going to this because of these views, great. But I know that if you ask her, so why did you change from this to this?
It's because her church said, well, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
True Christians vote this way. And it's whoa.
But why? Oh, I see that. I'm going to do this. It just seems very aggressive. It's weird. This is weird.
It is weird. Some people asked what we ended up doing, so I wanted to provide an update for those who helped. But before I do, there's one thing I want to address. Many people asked why I didn't cut my mom out of our lives immediately after she made my wife cry at a baseball game. And I discussed cutting her off when it happened. Well, we know why, because she has medical issues.
And I come from a family where my parents have had a distance from her parents, even though everyone's like, Christian or cool. You just need that sometimes in life. You just need to kind of space from people.
However, my wife disagreed and said my mom needed support in 2 ways: seeing the kids and driving her shopping and to doctors and prescriptions. We set a boundary of no longer taking her to our kids' games, but my wife also said that her seeing the kids for holidays would help her overcome the loss of her husband, and she believed that losing access to their sporting events would make her change. However, the biggest reason my wife didn't want to cut her off is because she's a Christian too, and she was happy when my mom got saved and believed we should turn the cheek despite the baseball incident because God loved us when we didn't deserve it.
Oh my gosh. I have so many things to say about turning the cheek on that one too.
So we agreed to just remove her from sporting events to see if she'd change.
Nice. Okay, I like that.
Personally, I'm not a Christian, but my wife and I think similarly. She despises how many Christians criticize gay people and pregnancy terminations and believes that God loves all people for who they are, and she said she'd be supportive if our kids came out too. That brings me to what happened since my original post. After my mom told my wife to grow a spine and stop bringing everything she suggests to me in unity, my wife reached her breaking point and wanted to officially cut her off. And thanks to helpful comments that told us how to have her prescriptions delivered and suggest having one of her church friends or an Uber take her to the doctors if she's going to continue verbally abusing my wife and family, I sat down with her and gave her those options, and she didn't like anything I had to say. She reiterated how I was failing my kids when I told her we wouldn't bring them to church for Mother's Day in exchange for her no longer spending time with our family as she threatened, because family time isn't conditional. And when I asked her how she could throw away who she was before Grandpa passed, she reiterated how she regretted accepting Christ before Grandpa passed and that he wasn't in heaven because of it. So when she told me that she didn't want me taking her shopping or to the doctor anymore, she said I wasn't her child anymore because I was preventing her from being around my kids. So she basically disowned me in hopes that I'd cave and bring my kids to church on Mother's Day coming up, and my wife and I have no plans to do so. It's been really hard the past few days since we spoke. But my wife supports our boundary and added one more reason why she hit her breaking point. During a recent argument between my wife and mom, my mom asked her why she wouldn't bring our kids to her church, or any church at all, when my wife is a Christian. And my wife told her that she hasn't attended any church since 2016 because church in America has changed in many places. The church my wife attended began becoming more political, even to the point of endorsing the 45th president from the pulpit during sermons, and occasionally making comments about gay people and pregnancy terminations.
Okay, why are we endorsing presidents
That's so
at church?
weird.
That's
so weird.
because I know for a fact that if the man above came and endorsed the options that came, he'd be like, "Yo, we're so cooked." That's my true thought. I don't think American politics and Christianity should ever go hand in hand. That's just, oh my gosh.
I agree.
That's so sad.
Church and state, man. Separation of church and state. Let's separate that church and state.
So wild.
We're not a freaking, theocracy. And she believes that church is supposed to be about love and not hate, like too many churches have forgotten since 2016. By the way, I would hate if you didn't listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story, but
Dude, I'm so
I think
done
you guys
with
are
this
making.
mother.
I think you guys are making the right decision.
Yeah. And
She's chosen. The thing is, she's made her choice.
yeah. And I like they said the example of turn the cheek. And the whole reason, I'm going to go on a little rant here because I can. They gave me a mic. I can go on a rant on this. So the whole reason of turning the cheek is not if Sophia punches me, I'm going to turn the cheek and let her punch me again. No, it's kind of symbolizing the unjust in the world. So for example, during the days of Jesus, if a Roman soldier asks you to carry or to pick up their stuff and they can come to you and be like, "Hey, carry my things for a mile." They can only do it for a mile. You're supposed to carry it for 2.
I did know this. Yeah.
You're supposed to carry it for 2 to show how unjust it is and kind of be petty. It's actually to be petty in a way.
I did learn this, which is I love that.
Yeah,
I love
and
that
I
story.
think that's what you've shown is how show how petty their thought of the world should be perceived. So then like it's like, hey, this is really unjust what you're doing to me. It's not like I'm gonna let Sophia keep hitting me, or I'm gonna have to always carry Sophia's things. It's like I'll let it happen once to show how petty it is, and then I'm gonna guard myself so I will be protected and not like, that's the whole intent of that. And I think that this family has done that beautifully, where like they, said like we're gonna set boundaries so we don't let this mom, because you're the parents of these kids, so you have the first say
Absolutely.
and how to like, treat your kids and like teach them.
Agreed. But that, there's a little bit left to that story, so we're going to finish it off. So for that reason, my wife simply reads her Bible at home and said she'll never enter a church again outside of a funeral because too many churches worship the president instead of God. And my mom called her a fake Christian despite only being a Christian for 2 years since Grandpa passed away, compared to my wife, who's been a Christian for much longer. We plan to stay firm to our boundary on Mother's Day, but it honestly hurts to have been disowned. So if anyone has any suggestions about coping with that, I'd appreciate it, although my wife has been supportive. And we're trying to figure out how to tell our kids that Grandma likely won't be part of our lives anymore, along with the importance of choosing religion or not for themselves, which is why we're making the boundary with Grandma. So if anyone has any suggestions on how to speak to our kids too, we'd appreciate that as well. And folks, that is the end of that story.
Yeah, dude.
There you go.
Best thing you can do is pray for her. I'll be praying. Best thing you can do.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad to see it.
It really sucks. It really sucks when people use religion as a way to control.
Weaponize.
And weaponize religion when it's
been happening for centuries, man.
Yep, that's what got the freaking Crusades, dude.
Yeah.
It's been used like that always.
It really has.
That's why I personally don't like organized religion, but that's my own personal thoughts.
And that's why I have a relationship with Jesus and not a religion.
And there,
Hot take.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so glad I could give a little speak. Sorry if it was a little too preachy, but that's just how I view things.
I mean, it's relevant for this story.
Yeah.
And you got me. You have the religious and the agnostic.
Someone said like when a Christian and agnostic do a podcast.
That's
together.
literally that's awesome. Yeah,
happened.
I'm coming from it like with the academic. I'm like, well, this in the when I had to study this, and Riley's like, well, this is my faith, and that's you get both sides, man.
It's called respect.
Where do you stand, Keon?
I'm agnostic as well.
Hell yeah.
Agnostic.
It's
the Catholic
it's
school.
the Catholic church trauma.
Yeah, it's the Catholic church trauma.
Where it's like kind of like bink. It's in your head. Like you got to do this every day. We're like, oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. But folks, that's the end of that story.
My mother went on a trip while struggling financially.
You can't afford that, girl.
My mom is currently in South Korea on vacation with my oldest sister, which took all of us by surprise because my mom is poor and in debt.
Is a poor.
Is a poor.
She's a poor.
Sorry, I got my 2-letter words wrong. Backstory. My parents are divorced and my dad was deported when my siblings and I were quite young. So we grew up poor, constantly asking for help with rent and food from our church. It was humiliating for my mom, and sometimes she would get loans from loan sharks and end up in a lot of debt. By the way, this comes from my Vladimir 18. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my mom has less debt now, but she still struggles with money. Early in our marriage with my husband and I, we saved up $2,000 and gave it to her as a gift to help her. She's still my mom, and I care about her. Later, when her car broke down, my husband and I decided to get her the car we currently had. We knew that if she didn't have a car, it would affect her ability to go to work, making it much harder for her to earn an income. Last year, as a gift, we took her back to her home country, covering the flights, hotels, and even new clothes and luggage. When I was younger, our family always talked about going to see her homeland and meeting her relatives there, but we never had the money, and finally, my husband and I were able to make it happen. Though my brother Zane and my sister Leah couldn't join due to their own finances. My oldest sister, Elena, could have come, but she was saving for a trip to South Korea. That was surprising to me, but I thought maybe she still wanted to wait until everyone could go. 6 months later, my oldest sister was in fact going to South Korea, and my mom wanted to go too. I initially kept quiet about it, but then my mom brought up this old idea of us pulling our money together to pay off her debts. This immediately angered me. My husband and I are still in school, working full-time jobs, paying our own bills, and actively trying to avoid debt. While we're not struggling like my siblings, Zane and Leah, we currently are not rich either. That trip and the $2,000 we gave my mom took a while for us to save up to. So I snapped back. Why don't you use the money for South Korea to pay for your own debts? My mom went silent.
Yeah. I mean,
Ooh.
it's really unfair for her to expect her kids to pay off everything that she, like, it seems like she's not necessarily financially good with her financials, I guess. And OP and her husband are, you know, trying to stay above water, and their mom's asking for all this money.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have that money to give to you. I already gave the money I gave.
This is tricky. It's tricky. You're in a better situation and you have someone else helping out with income and your mom's still a single mom. What
Yeah.
can you really do? I don't know. This is tough. We need a financial advisor here.
Yeah. Please get her in.
Apparently, my mom and Zane had a huge fight about this. Zane, the oldest, currently lives with my mom. He works 3 jobs and pays rent while my mom covers utilities. He's told me there's often no food at home and he's even considering going to a food bank. This absolutely enraged me. I genuinely feel for my brother. While he's been at fault for most of his past choices, he was lazy, played video games day and night, and constantly got fired from jobs. He's now making an effort to get his life back on track. He's working hard to pay off his own debts, and we respect that. So Zane got mad at mom for wanting to go on this trip. It just didn't make sense given the debt she has and how much they both struggle. My mom, however, argues that she deserves this trip after working hard for us over these years, claiming she's never been anywhere and doesn't count her home country as a real vacation. My oldest sister, Elena, completely agrees with my mom. Ooh.
What? She's
Interesting.
like, you have to pay. Like, you'd pay, girl. You can't ask other people to
Yeah.
pay with, like, for someone with money they don't have.
Yeah, it's a tough world right
Yeah.
now. Oh my gosh.
It would be different if OP and her partner had a bunch of money. They were like super rich, and the mom was like, "Hey, like, you know, I've really helped out. Like, if you could help me pay off my debts, that'd be great." Still, you know, if they say no, you can't demand it. But it would make a little bit more sense. But OP and her partner,
Don't have this money. They just don't.
yeah.
it seems like their mom wants them to like financially drown themselves,
I am under the water.
Yeah.
and they don't want to do that.
They don't want to do it. This is weird, feeling entitled to other people's money.
Yeah. It's just like you're I don't know. It's not even like, "Hey, can you help me find housing?" Like the things that you need to live. It's not asking for that. It's asking for her kids for a trip that she doesn't need to go on.
And probably shouldn't be asking this. 1, what does the mom do?
I don't
2, these
Yeah.
are just like questions I'm thinking out loud.
mhm.
2, if the brother's working 3 jobs and paying rent, she's just paying utilities. Where's the other money going to?
Mhm.
3, are they just bad spenders or they're just not managing their money well?
I think it's partially the management of the money is not great.
Yeah, because I've been eating out a lot recently because just a life has been happening, just getting food, and I've realized like a shift in my finances where I'm like, oh wow,
It's
that's
expensive.
it. I had this one habit going, and then I went back to old habits, and I'm like, this is kind of crazy. You know, if people don't really watch out for this, how much it can affect
Me
your
with
life.
my bagels, man.
Well, things have changed, so you don't go get bagels as much.
Okay, but I also get discounts on my bagels, so
Just got a bagel plug.
I got a bagel plug. I also have a coffee plug. I have multiple coffee plugs. I can get free coffee every day if I go to a specific coffee shop.
Coffee salute.
Yeah, well, matcha, but you know,
This girl.
it's great.
She gets around.
Shout out Gabby.
So, back to it. My mom did work incredibly hard for us as a single mother, enduring grueling hours as a nanny, cleaner, and working graveyard shifts at a nursing home. She never bought herself new clothes, never went out and partied, and never brought home men or had boyfriends. Her life was dedicated to working and providing for us. That's precisely why it made sense to us that she deserves something nice before she passes away. Guys, my mom is in her 60s and still works as a custodian. We are truly worried she won't make it another 10 years. That's also another reason we didn't wait to take her to her homeland. Still, the whole situation left a weird taste in my mouth. I thought her going on this trip would undoubtedly strain her relationship with my brother. Well, I was wrong. 2 days after arriving in South Korea, my mom asked my older sister, Leia, for $500 to cover the hotel since my older sister, Elena, was leaving earlier than she was. My sister Leia and her husband are doing okay, but they're struggling more than my husband and I. They're both working hard, and her husband is going to school.
Ooh.
My sister explained to my mom that they're living paycheck to paycheck and apologized for not being able to help. My mom's response was chilling. She told my sister she was glad she didn't have the money because it just confirms they are not doing a good job in their lives and they need to get different jobs. This
Okay.
was a shocking turn, as my mom had been happy when Leia got her current job. She then questioned what are they going to do if she gets pregnant. Another ironic statement, considering she wanted my husband and me to have a baby when we were living in Demon Grandma's basement.
Pretty hypocritical to be like,
Maybe you should get another job if you can't afford to pay for me, because I can't afford to pay for myself.
And then also, you should have a baby.
well, what are you going to do when you have a baby? Because it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty hypocritical.
this is wild.
Not cool.
The only way I could have a baby is if I moved back to North Carolina.
I mean, not right. I guess right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you will be ready.
If I had a
financially.
family support system, maybe
Oh,
one of
I
us
see.
should have
You
a
would have
kid,
all of
and then
us.
we all can help out.
That's what I'm planning on. You're helping with my baby
When are you gonna have a baby?
in my 30s.
That's so long
You
from
got
now.
time. You got time. You're going to be
Fun uncle.
Funko.
well, you're going to be one of the godfathers. Yeah.
What? Well, Sam's gonna be an uncle.
So he can't be a godfather?
I don't think so.
All right, then you can.
It's just an uncle. Like uncle's basically
Yeah.
better. It's like uncle
My
than
uncle-
godfather.
my godfather is not one of my uncles, but one of my uncles is Sam's godfather.
Okay. Anyways, I don't know how the godfather complex works.
Okay, well, you can be one of them.
My mom added that she could have asked a coworker, but wanted to ask family first. Finally, she declared that my sister and brother Zane would no longer receive their life insurance money after she passes away until they are in their 40s.
Oh my gosh.
All because my sister didn't give my mom $500 for a trip she decided to go on despite not having the money to do so. My sister sent me the message, and I was absolutely furious. My sister Leah is my best friend and the one I consider to be my real mom. She has always been there for me, protecting me and helping me through everything. She's the one who knows all my deepest, darkest secrets. I've told her that I don't care if anybody else showed up to my wedding because her presence was the only one that truly mattered. My sister was crying in a bathroom stall when this all went down. Not because of the money. My sister could care less about that. She was crying because of how my mom reacted. This whole situation infuriated me. So I messaged my mom, telling her not to treat my sister like that again. This behavior is not like my mom. When did she become so greedy? And she only asked Leah for the money, not me. When she found out I knew, she told Leah how cruel she was for showing her the messages to me and that she was even madder at her. This wasn't the first time my mom had treated my sister in such a manner, but it was the first time she had reacted so harshly or that the situation escalated to this point. My sister Leah had always been a pushover for our mom. Elena and I could always say no or argue, but Leah was never able to. Whatever my mom wanted, Leah did it, even when it didn't make her happy. Leah even moved to New York and was quite content there, but my mom called her and told her to come back, promising that if she returned, she wouldn't have to pay rent and could save money. Of course, that was a lie. My mom also complained that Leah had abandoned her and wasn't a good daughter for moving to New York.
Oof.
Elena is the oldest one.
Yeah.
Leah's not.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also kind of possibly a cultural aspect here.
The Year of the Dragon?
No.
No.
Because the mother is originally from South Korea, so there is like kind of a very strong like familial.
No, she went to visit. That's not her home country.
It is.
It is?
Mm?
Ding
So-
a spot. Where's the mother's home country? Is he here right now? I don't think he's
I
set
can
up on this
just
computer.
tell you.
It's not. I don't
I
think
can tell
so.
you. Yeah. So basically, what we learned is that the mother's home country is South Korea, and the all the kids. What? No. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but they
Yep.
said that they saved up money to send the mother to her home country.
but this is a different. This is a different trip to South Korea, because her first trip to her home country didn't count
Where's
as
her
vacation.
home country?
We don't know where the other country or what the other country
I'm
is.
trying to find it.
They never said, but it isn't South Korea.
I'm crazy, I guess. Maybe there's no cultural aspect.
Oh! I need to do an SAT right now and
Yeah.
test my English skills.
I'm ready. I'm
I
ready.
was so bad at them. I got like a 17 on it. ACT.
On the ACT? That's
On
not
the English.
That's not bad.
No, I needed like something in the 20s. I got like a 30 for math.
That's great. That's very good.
All right. This constant dynamic seemed to happen only to my sister Leah. It was almost as if my mom hates her, and we can't understand why. Leah has always been there for our mom, yet whenever she tries to do something for herself, our mom acts like it's the worst thing imaginable. Nothing Leah has ever done seems to be right in her eyes. My mom messaged me back saying that I need to respect her and I need to stop because what she wants to do with her money is her choice. She said if she wanted to take back the car, then we should. And then if I never want to talk to her again, then that's fine with her. I'm at a loss for what to do. On one hand, I obviously want to cut my mom out of my life and take back the car we gave her. I'd rather give it to my sister-in-law who lives with us. She's been having car problems, and I know she would treat the car better and actually pay for it. Actually, my mom got furious when we had my brother-in-law and his wife move in with us simply because we didn't ask my mom to move in with us since she needs real help. We actually asked them to move in to help them escape Demon Grandma's house. But that's an entirely different story. The idea of cutting her out breaks my heart because I love her and I will miss her terribly. I'll miss her smile, hugs, cooking, her dancing. I'll simply miss my mom. But she hurt my sister one too many times. Her behavior is abhorrent and I'm fed up. My brother Zane is completely on our side. He doesn't care about the money either. He says he stopped depending on my mom years ago. We're worried these outbursts are signs of Alzheimer's or dementia. My mom always says she's forgetting things, and we've been meaning to get her checked out. But what if it's not? My brother and my birthdays are coming up. At first, I considered not inviting her, but I feel bad because I don't want to ruin my brother's birthday. My sister Leah said she'll be there if the rest of us are there, but she'll avoid our mom. To be honest, I don't want to see my mom. Do we just deal with it and keep our distance or cut her out completely? Do we take away the car since she said we could? She doesn't own the car and my husband has a key to it. My husband wants to talk to her when she returns, but I'm worried she'll snap at him. She also deleted the toxic message she sent to Leah. We got an update.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
I don't know. I mean, like, it's totally up to you guys as siblings if you want to invite her, because it seems like you're all roughly on the same page about your feelings about your mom.
Yeah.
If you can have another conversation where you sit down with her and say, hey, you have repeatedly crossed our boundaries. If you continue to do so, you're gone. You're done. We're not going to have a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
But it does seem like you've tried that before and she's just not willing to listen. So, but
Yeah.
Amy Lynn says, get her tested. I agree. If this is a change that you've noticed in her, then absolutely get her tested. See if it's, something medical rather than just her being mean
Yeah.
and entitled,
It's tough.
It is
It's
tough.
tough. I think it might be a little bit of poor money management.
I think so.
So you have a house that basically has 4 jobs,
Mm.
earning four job income. I don't know. Depending on where they live, but life
Yeah.
is tough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We got an update. My sister Olena came back from South Korea and spoke with Leah. Apparently, this whole thing was a test.
What?
My mom had the money the whole time and was
What?
testing my sister because she thought her husband was taking her money.
She's gotta be lying. She can't be telling the truth there. She's like, I had the money the whole time.
The whole thing was a test, and it turns out that not letting my sister get her share of the life insurance thing isn't true. You know what else is true is all the stories that you can be listening to with us that are true as all get out. Go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and be true with us.
Be true to yourself with us.
Dude, what? A test?
What do you mean a test?
What
I
kind
don't
of
know what that means.
Orange pill theory test is this?
She's like, I needed to see if your husband was taking your money, so I told you that you weren't getting anything?
This is wild.
Like, I kind of see that, but is this even true?
I don't know. This is weird.
I don't understand what this test would prove. She's bad with her money and also bad with tests.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I think there's something, I don't know. I need
She
more
needs to get
information
checked
about what
up.
it was.
She needs to get checked up.
Yeah,
She
she
needs to go
needs
to
to
the
get
doctor.
tested.
Yeah. This is wild.
Crazy.
My mom apparently told Alina, just tell Leah I love her so much. Because she was under the impression Leah's husband was being financially harmful. Alina agrees that my mom did not handle this the right way. and told my mom just to talk to us. Apparently, my mom didn't want Leah to repeat her mistakes that she had made with my dad, but I still have concerns. Why would my mom send that horrible message to me after I confronted her? She could have told me she was testing my sister, and why would she delete her messages to my sister?
That's why I don't believe it, because it's not just the money stuff. It was like all of the stuff that she was saying to everyone. That had everyone upset with her.
This is weird. This is whack. This is weird. I don't like it.
And also, if she was just trying to test Leah, then why was she asking the rest of the kids to pay off all of debts?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
I'm not. Something's fishy here, guys.
Something's off here. But that's the end of that story. So we're going to jump into the next story.
I think my mother is copying me, and I want her to back off.
I've heard of Mama's Boys, but like this is giving me the creep.
This is also comes from one of our own on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, it's our family member. I, 35 female, and my mom, 55 female, have always had a weird relationship. She's married to my bio father, who was not a good man. They divorced when I was 7, and I didn't live full-time with her until I was around 15, almost 16. At 18, she remarried to a different type of red flag, and it got so bad that I went no contact with her for almost 3 years because of him. She was not at my wedding because of this. We did not get back in contact when my grandfather passed away, and it slowly built back up. But when the second husband left her, she permanently moved herself into my life. By the way, this comes from Independent N53, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit, because this is where this one's from. So, everything has to be her, myself, and my husband. And I mean everything. We weren't allowed to go to dinner without checking in with her and seeing if she wants to go, unless we want to hear a lecture about how she was free, and all we had to do was call. I planned a weekend away from myself. I was going through a lot and just needed to cry and sleep and just be alone. I let her know I would not be available for a weekend a month away, that I was being overwhelmed with all my responsibilities, and that if I didn't want to snap and bite everyone's head off, I needed some alone time. But she immediately started to plan a girls' trip. I was gonna stay at a local hotel near 2 restaurants that I love and can walk to. Nope. Now I was doing a weekend away. Thankfully, my husband took it upon himself to book me the hotel for the weekend before my original plan, and told me to tell her I had to work because he had a plan. He then checked in with me and got me set up. Then he ran over to the restaurant and picked it up, and then he went home. Then the next weekend, I was refreshed and handled the forced girls trip, which she acted like I needed the whole time because my husband and my job, that she was the angel there to save me. Ugh, okay.
Oh, this is giving me like codependent and just the mom doesn't want to be alone anymore vibes.
Oh,
Mom
I didn't
know how to exist outside of a relationship with another person.
Yeah.
Which maybe why she was into red flag relationships.
From this, she kind of looks like the savior or saving them.
Absolutely wants to save.
And that's probably how she stumbled upon those red flag relationships.
She's seeing OP as a project, not as a person.
We think she is trying to become me. She started getting my hairstyle cut that I've had for decades. So I stopped and haven't cut my hair in about 4 years because that was my haircut and don't know what else to get. I went through a few doctors and found out that I have neurospiciness. Her response was, well, yeah, you got that from me. But she has never been to therapy or anything. And now when something isn't going quite right, she will bust out my diagnosis and blame that. But I can't have at least a bit of a down moment. Then she started buying the same clothes as me when we went shopping together, which I joked as long as we don't wear them at the same time, which she has tried to do a couple of times. I don't put a hoodie on or have a tank top in the car and complain that I was hot or cold depending on the outfit change. When we go out to dinner or a small trip or basically anything, every decision comes down to me. I can't even pick out a meal I want because then she will want it too. So then I have to pick a second one because we can't get the same thing or that would be wasteful.
This is really creepy. Like, this is a horror movie plot developing.
Yeah.
This is not okay.
She's becoming the daughter.
Or
Or is she saving herself from decision fatigue? What's that called?
probably,
Decision fatigue?
yeah. She it's just easier to go along with what her daughter wants. So one, maybe she's trying to develop like a closer bond with her daughter, especially after her daughter went like no contact for a little bit.
Like 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
She could be trying. That could be the only way she knows how to do it, and probably doesn't realize that she's alienating the daughter too.
Yeah.
She could be trying to like. And this is going the horror movie route.
Uh-oh.
Replace her.
I was thinking that.
Oh God, what if mom like has a crush on husband? Little swapperoo there.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's just
Some moms could do that. There are some moms out there
Yeah.
that could probably swap with their daughters, and no one would know a thing.
Yeah.
When we do small vacations, I find all the lodging, restaurants, and activities. And unless I make it a big deal about how much I want to do something, she will try to make sure it doesn't happen. Example, if I want to go to this restaurant, I have to say I really want to go and I can't wait to try it. Then all of a sudden, she's really excited to do it too. Yes, I know this is manipulation to make sure I get what I want, but otherwise, she'll cancel the thing I was actually looking forward to do. It has happened more than a dozen of times. I mean, I have to act like it's life or that I get to do/eat the thing. If I just say, oh, this place is cool and I want to check it out, she will agree. But then the comments of, do we have time or money for that? And it just doesn't happen. During the vid, I learned how to quilt and find real joy in it. She started acting like it was a we task and acted like we were going to learn together. But she didn't really help/learn. When I started completing quilts and was getting compliments for it, she all of a sudden had the urge. I have been using my extra fabric to make quilts for women's shelters, and of course, she is now making quilts for women's shelters too. And she loves to bring it up and act like it was her idea and that she's like the best person in the whole world for doing this. You know what? I'll take that one. If all this stuff was happening, you're giving a little bit of good back to the world.
Yeah, I mean, she's making the quilt, so
Yeah.
a little bit of good back, but it's like I'm getting a little bit of life trauma from this. Not quite fully to this extent, but
Wait, this happened to you?
No, but my mom is like has some of these behaviors, not nearly to this extent.
Yeah.
But it's like there was one time me and my brother were watching, I think it was Breaking Bad. We started watching Breaking Bad together.
Okay.
And then one time me and him like watched an episode or two without her, and she's like, "You watched our show without me?" And it's like, "Whoa, you were never part of this. You like hopped in like halfway through season 1. What do you mean our show?"
Well, season 1's pretty.
No, but
I
it's
can
like,
see where she's going from on
but
that
still,
one.
it's like this was a me and my brother thing where she would happen to be like washing the dishes at the time or doing something at the table. She wasn't really actively
Okay.
involved, and then she kind of made it her thing.
And that's why Matt went no contact with his mom for 7 years.
No,
man. But never gives me the credit for being the one who started it or figuring out which women's shelter in a big city near us needed blankets. Yes, she has made some, but I do not believe she has actually donated any. And my husband made a comment that he has noticed her copying my body language. Like, I have a nervous tick that I twirl my hair. Now she twirls hers. I started to do this weird finger trick for self-soothing. It's the best way I can explain it, that she had not seen yet, and we know for sure she didn't do it. I saw it during a group therapy and talked with the person, and I adopted it with a little variation. So we watched her, and she did it after a minute or two of me doing it. I didn't even notice it at first, but it became clear she was copying me and didn't even know the mantra that pairs with the finger trick. So it's confirmed she was copying me. I do not know if this was on purpose or not. I hope not. This is the tipping point of the whole story. A few weeks ago, we had a small party with some friends we had not seen in a while. It was at my house. I cleaned my house and yard for weeks. Not dirty, just clutter. Got up first thing in the morning to do all the prep and cooking. She showed up about 2 hours before the party to help, but I told her I had it all under control. So we just sat there and hung out. When everyone arrived, she had to dominate the conversation. I was trying to have a side conversation with a friend, and she cut me off to have me confirm something in her story that I did not need to confirm. I've been in these scenarios so many times, and I dislike them so much. Just let me have my own side conversation. I created this. Let me have it.
Mom needs friends.
Mom needs a friend.
Mom needs a social life, a hobby, anything.
Bridge club. I don't care. Cards, something. Heck, get into gambling, Mom. She might like that. It happened twice more before I gave up having an adult conversation and just sat there playing on my phone until someone needed something. I had to step away and hid in my room at my party because the conversation was one I've had with her 19 times and really couldn't handle one more. So again, my lovely husband saved me. He made it a drinking game. Every time she cut me off, we had to take a drink of adult soda/wine. Every time she brought it back to the conversation I was having, we would discreetly go into the kitchen and have a shot. After the third turnaround to the same conversation, I told him I had to stop, but it did make it way more fun, lol. She was talking about her new dating app boyfriend that screams red flags. I mean, this guy doesn't have an official job, does some online crap that my mom has helped fund, and it wasn't cheap. It wasn't until one of the friends brought it up that it sounds like a financial that she stopped bringing him up. She still has the scheduled trip for the middle of September to meet him, but she is now staying in a hotel in a town next to his that has a lot of stuff for her to go do. My big problem, and what I need advice on, is I don't know how to make my mom see that she does not help me in the least bit. She does nothing but add responsibility and stress to me, but she acts like she takes things off my plate. I really need her to back off. Let me have time to breathe. I work 50 hours a week and have a husband and a house that I take care of. And I go do countless doctor trips and therapy sessions throughout the month. At least one a week every week. I know she's not in love with my husband and doesn't want to replace me as me. I know she was lonely, and that's always been an issue for her. I've suggested she seek therapy, and we know she loves my husband as a son. But we both think she would be ecstatic if something happened to him and I to rely on her completely. With her, my triggers don't exist. My anxieties do not exist. My childhood did not happen. Even though she came from a loving home, my grandparents were separated by not divorce, and they bent over backward for their kids. I was not raised in a happy home. How do you naturally bring this up to mom?
I don't think she would listen to it.
Yeah.
I think she'd just be completely dismissive of it. Well, I mean, my conspiracy theory is out the window, according to OP. But at this point, I think you have to kind of let it wither. Because she's never going to listen to the fact that you need space. She's never going to listen to the fact that she's copying you. She's never going to listen to the fact that she's causing you trauma. The fact that she is already kind of gaslighting OP's childhood trauma or problems or pretty much anything that OP brings up.
Yeah.
Just is a big red flag that it's beyond anything that conversation can do.
Yeah.
So you have to let her go her own way with, I mean, it sucks to say, like, let her go with this red flag guy, but she needs something else to devote her attention to. She's obsessive to the point of harm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to the story. I'm 35 years old and I feel like I have to run her life, except for when I think she makes a bad decision. I can't say anything or I get my head chewed off. I haven't said anything too bad about the internet boyfriend because he's at least taking some of her time away from me. But when she first started helping him get his starter off the ground, I did make some comments about the cost and how it sounds more like a MLM instead of a true business. But I was quickly shut down and got to enjoy a 3-hour car ride home in silence because she just refused to talk about anything after that. Until we got to my grandmother's and everything was normal again. And you could be normal on any car ride you want to go on by joining your favorite podcast platform on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify and searching up OK Storytime for more stories just like these. And you don't have to bear the silence. You can just listen to us. We got a little bit more here. Any other thoughts before we finish it?
There needs to be therapy.
Yeah.
There's some underlying issue that the mother just doesn't want to address. There's an issue with maturity. There's an issue with boundaries. It's not going to get better without it. Because the fact that she's gone now to 3 red flag boyfriends, it's going to keep happening. There's no end.
There's no
It's
end.
a cycle.
It is a cycle. And honestly, I don't know if she'll ever accept it. She may just
Oh, absolutely.
let it happen, and that's just the way she's going to be. And you're just going to have to distance yourself. I do not want to cut my mother out of my life at this point. In general, we do get along. She's fun to be around 50% of the time. And she doesn't do anything up front. It's all subtle, and it's just building up. Every story above has 5 or more just like it. I'm sure she has some big diagnosis if she ever makes it to therapy. When I've suggested it to her, her answer is, I'm not that bad, every time. And if I just cut her out of my life again, she will go full force with this internet boyfriend and end up being really hurt again. And that's not what I want. Any advice, really just putting it all out here, has been a little bit of help. Yes, I go to group therapy for some of my diagnosis, both mental and medical, but it's not a therapy session for myself. And I'm in the process of finding myself a one-on-one therapist. But until then, I will ask the Reddit and OK Storytime. Love the channel, by the way. We freaking love you, OP. Comment number 1. I'm going to be a little blunt here. Your mother sounds very selfish, and I'm genuinely concerned with the behavior you're described here. She sounds very dependent on a man, and I could guess her copying behavior is either her way of feeling younger to catch up a male's attention or trying to take over your life with your husband. That's a big assumption on my part, but I would caution you with the time you spend with her. I would worry about if your mom may end up flipping on you sometimes from just copying you to trying to take over either your decisions or your life. Ignoring everything I said, I think you can't stop your mom from dating who she wants and making those mistakes. You should step back now. Make distance in small steps at the very least, and don't share sensitive information with her. Please be safe. OP says, yes, my mother is very selfish. It's because she cannot see from other people's point of view. Oh, man. I don't believe she does anything maliciously, but because she thinks everyone thinks like her. Yes, she's dependent on the man in her life at the moment. She only sees her value as a wife or girlfriend. No, my mom does not want my husband. I believe she would rather become a nun than sleep with my husband. And I won't say what he would rather do, but nope, that's not a concern, lol. Making her feel young again is a good point, but I am super sick and act closer to her age than mine. I don't want to stop her from dating. When she has a boy toy thing, it takes time away from me, so I normally enjoy it. This guy is just some bad news, and she's acting like he is Jesus himself walking on water. So other than the first comment I made about him, I haven't said anything other than normally wrap it before you tap it jokes, which I would make no matter who the guy was. I appreciate that, OP. I've tried to step back, but can't do much without her having a fit about we don't spend time with her. We do have her down to roughly once a week, normally Sunday dinner, but sometimes she wants to go shopping/lunch. And that's the end.
I refuse to let my mother babysit for me. I don't like her boyfriend.
Well, if you two are a package deal, then I'm sending you back.
And there is a trigger warning here for substance use. I, 28 female, recently had a baby and she's now almost 6 months old. We decided it would be a good idea for my daughter and me to join my mom and her boyfriend for a vacation at his family's place since I'm on maternity leave. By the way, this comes from user status nectarine9838, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I've had issues with my mom's boyfriend before during a previous vacation. He has a bad attitude and gets mad at people unexpectedly. He also uses nose clams, the spicy flour, despite knowing my mother hates it. During that previous trip, he became hostile over minor issues, which made what was supposed to be a good time very unpleasant. After that vacation, I stopped talking to him, though we later reconciled and had some positive interaction. This vacation with the baby proved to be even more problematic. He uses the nose clams regularly about every week or two. When we left, everything was fun. We're having a good time. And with his usual pickiness, which I don't mind, we all have preferences. My mom's boyfriend and I played games and drank a couple brewskis while my mother took care of my baby, which she wanted to do, and we all enjoyed ourselves. The only issue was when he was driving while on his phone. My mom asked about 6 times for him to put it away, but he kept brushing her off. Finally, I told him my daughter would like him to stop being on his phone, which he laughed at. I had to tell him I was serious. We have a child in the vehicle and it's dangerous, and then he finally listened. I started noticing more red flags when he asked us to let him know if we saw a gift for his mother since we were visiting his family during her birthday. When I found homemade cutting boards in a store, which his mother loves cooking, I thought it would be perfect. Smaller one was $45, the bigger one $78. He replied with, "Wow, these are expensive," and never found any gifts for his mom. I kept my thoughts to myself since I've been working on managing my emotions and avoiding unnecessary conflict. I accommodate his preferences, not commenting on things like the toilet seat, closing the shower door tab, and letting him choose meals because he's particular about food. A few days later, we arrived at his family's hometown, which is very small with maybe just a few inhabitants. The first night, he and I had fun drinking by the fire until I went to bed around 1 in the morning. He decided to stay up, but kept starting his truck to play music, keeping my mother awake all night. The next night, he told me he just bought spicy flour for him and his brother. I was frustrated since he'd refused to buy his mother a reasonably priced gift, but was willing to spend money on nose clams. His brother, wife, and son came to party with us. I heard him ask his brother if he wanted to use the nose clams, and they went to his truck. When my mother asked what he was doing, he lied and said he was showing off his sound system. My mom and I went to bed while they partied outside our camper all night. The next day, the day before his father's funeral and his mother's birthday, we went for brunch, and he'd completely forgotten about a birthday gift. My mother ended up contributing money to the family card. Considering his mother had just lost her husband, this seemed inadequate. Afterwards, he and his brother went to dig the hole for his father's ashes and came back wasted. Around 6:30 p.m., he said he was taking his brother home and asked my mom and me to prepare his leftovers for supper. He returned at 4 a.m. The next day, he was clearly hungover at his father's funeral. Despite the circumstances, the service was meaningful, more of a celebration of life than a traditional funeral. However, I don't think he fully processed the experience given his condition. Over the following days, his mood became increasingly poor. Having experienced loss myself, I recognized this as withdrawal-related irritability rather than grief. A couple days later, we'd planned to visit a beautiful landmark since we'd driven 21 hours to get there. That morning, he announced we weren't going because he needed to see his mother before we left in 2 days. I was disappointed since this would be my only chance to see this attraction, and we hadn't done much sightseeing due to his partying and recovery schedule. I suggested my mom and I go with my daughter while he visited his mother. She thought it was a great idea, but he seemed offended. After his shower, he decided he'd come with us and see his mother the following day instead. Once we reached our destination, we went to eat. He said we should only eat a little since we'd have a big dinner later. He went back and forth about wanting fries with his cheeseburger, so I didn't order them based on his final decision. When he saw the receipt, he was upset that I hadn't ordered fries for him. Grown man upset someone else didn't order him his fries?
Oh no, I know a person like this. I know a person like this.
Terrific.
It's sad. It's sad. And I think it's because the parent probably didn't raise them right, and this is what they become.
My mom and I offered to share our French fries, and he ate about 10 fries before saying he was full. On our way back, we stopped where he'd ordered pizza. My mom, my baby, and I waited in the truck, but he turned the engine off before going inside, which was unusual since it was warm, and we had closed windows with the baby. When my mom said she didn't know why he'd done this, I turned it back on. He returned and became angry about me starting the truck, saying gas was expensive, and lecturing me about vehicle costs. I responded that I have my own car and understand expenses. He escalated the argument, making personal attacks until my mom told him to stop. This incident was a turning point for me. After he got angry at me in front of my daughter over something so minor, I decided I didn't want my daughter exposed to this behavior anymore. Ironically, 5 minutes later, he drove aggressively, speeding past another vehicle, negating any fuel savings from turning off the truck earlier. The next day, when he left to see his mother, I discussed my concerns with my mom. I explained his substance use, his reluctance to spend money on his mother versus said substances, and how he treated me the day before. Told her my daughter couldn't visit their house anymore given his behavior, his use of the nose clams, and his drinking habits. I'm not opposed to occasional partying, but this was excessive. He also leaves debris around, like brewski can tabs, which creates safety hazards for my daughter, who will soon be crawling and exploring. My mom said she knew about these issues, but stayed with him because she considers herself old. She's 53. I told her I couldn't understand staying with someone who behaves this way and that she deserves better. Said everyone has issues, which I acknowledged, but noted there are limits. When she said he's not always like this, I pointed out this wasn't the first time he treated me poorly, and I wouldn't accept this treatment, especially around my baby. She became very upset. I felt terrible about that. However, I felt this was my responsibility as a mother. My partner supports whatever decision I make regarding our daughter's safety. That evening, the situation became even more concerning. After his family left, he became wasted and emotional about his father's passing, but then started expressing anger that his father didn't wait for him to pass away. He believed his father could have lasted longer and felt his father seemed healthier in a video call than the family indicated. So this is part of the stage, 5 stages. This is probably in the anger and denial stage.
Yeah, first stage.
I found it disturbing that he was angry at his deceased father for not timing his passing more conveniently. My mom pointed out that we'd both lost our fathers without getting to say goodbye, but he dismissed this and continued his complaints. This experience reinforced my decision about my daughter's safety. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom she can't babysit my daughter with him around anymore? Absolutely not.
Yeah, definitely not. Because it would be one thing if you just didn't like him and you're just like, I he's just annoying. It's another thing when it's like you see your literal daughter's safety
Right.
in the mix here. Like that's something that you don't really budge with. You don't really just like keep an eye on. You know,
Yeah,
you
no.
you cut it off.
It's over. Like texting and driving or whatever with my 6-month-old in the car,
Yeah.
aggressive driving with my 6-month-old in the car.
Yep.
I'm never getting in a car with you again, and you're never allowed to like in any way be a caretaker or you know,
Yeah.
you're not watching over the kid ever.
Yeah,
Ever
absolutely.
again. There, you know what? There's no limit to how many full episodes of stories just like this you can listen to on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts. I mean, unless you consider that limit 69 consecutive days of stories, that'd be pretty hard to listen to, though. If you want to listen to them, just go to your favorite podcast platform and search OK Storytime. Here's an update, final update. We were supposed to leave today, but Mom's boyfriend was too hungover. So we asked my mom if it was okay to leave the next day. My mother asked if I thought it was okay, which I didn't, but I acknowledged I didn't really have a choice in the matter. My mother and I used this delay as an opportunity to see another tourist attraction and buy gifts for people back home. So we still made the best of it. However, I'm ready to get home. And there are some comments here to finish it off. Number one, why did you agree to go on vacation with them if you already knew he did substances? On top of that, it was 20 plus hours in a car each way with Mr. I do the California funny dust. Your talk with your mom could have waited until you got home. No need to make her cry, went on a trip, and no escape for any of you. Yeah, that's the end of that story, though. Trying to make it work is why she went. And
Yeah, it's probably more reason.
why'd you make your mom cry? I don't think she really tried to make her cry. I think it's just like, you know, hard to reckon with that.
Yeah, exactly. My mother-in-law says I ruined my baby's photo, but she's just a bad photographer.
That's a skill issue.
Need to get some feedback on this because it's driving me crazy. My 37 female family has been staying with my husband, 36 male parents, 59 female and 59 male, for a week, and we'll be at their home for another week before we have to head home to get the kids ready for back to school. My mother-in-law and I don't necessarily get along, but she's been trying to play nice since I gave birth to our fourth child, a boy, 4 months ago. By the way, this comes from Ginger Pretzel Mama, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we'll try to give our best advice, but we have not always experienced these situations. So if you have, let us know down in the comments what you would do or have done. But OP says, however, I suppose the nice act has ended because she's been stirring the pot and pushing my buttons since we got to their house. She's been rummaging through my clothes, whining that I should bottle feed instead of nursing so she has a chance to feed her baby. I've been biting my tongue because my husband loves his family and this is some of the only time we get to see his siblings. But at the end of this week, mother-in-law storms downstairs while we were eating breakfast, and the kids are in the yard playing, claiming we needed to talk. I go through a mental checklist to try to figure out which one of her household rules I've broken, or how I've managed to piss her off this time, when she slaps her phone down on the counter and begins scrolling through photos that are all of me and the baby. Photos that she apparently took while I wasn't paying attention, as most of them are blurry or from strange angles, down low as though she angled her phone up while it was taken in her lap. One of them is taken...
That sounds like the most horrific angle you could have.
She's like,
Just the straight up, I'm going to give you all a treat right now.
yeah, that's exactly what you would get from that angle.
And then the baby's just
And
like
then
looking like...
right. Exactly. One of them is taken through a crack in the door in the my husband and I's bedroom. Oh my god, what is she doing?
It's an aesthetic choice. Stalker core.
Yeah, absolutely. I ask mother-in-law what her problem is and why she's been taking photos of me and the baby like a lunatic, instead of just asking for my help with taking photos that I'd approve of. I don't want my infant son's face plastered all over social media. I cover it with emojis in my Facebook pictures. But she complains that she doesn't want to put those stupid pictures all over his face, and that I won't put him down long enough for her to get a photo of him by himself. He's been contact napping and I wear him for most of the day. And she can't post the photos that she took because I'm, quote, huge, and ruining them by looking ridiculous. For context, I'm definitely on the heavier side, 5'3" and 230 pounds. And because half of these photos are from a weird low angle, I have a prominent double chin, and baby is usually pressed up against me either in my arms or his wrap. So the photos are pretty much just unflattering pictures of me with baby's head and maybe an arm or leg visible.
I'm sorry. Yeah, every photo from that angle will be unflattering, even if you're like
100%.
a supermodel. Like,
Yeah.
that's just not where you have photos taken. You always want the camera above eye line.
Yeah, I tell her that I'm not going to entertain this behavior, and since she decided to approach the supposed problem like this, then she can work with what she's already got, but she's definitely not getting a solo photo op with my baby now. Hubby is understanding and supports my decision, even getting in the way when he sees mother-in-law trying to sneakily take more photos or distracting her so I could leave the room. But some people think that I'm blowing this out of proportion. W hubby.
Yeah.
Dub hub.
Dub
man.
hubba.
That's a really, really cool for him to do.
Hubba hubba.
Father-in-law says that mother-in-law has a right to take photos of her grandchild, and it's not her fault that I'm insecure about how fat I am. Hubby's twin sister is also being dismissive because, quote, she's always been catty about weight. Why are you acting so insulted like it's the first time? Even my sister, when I called and complained about this, acted like I was making mountains out of molehills. She was like this 60 pounds ago. Why is it suddenly a big deal again? No one will listen to me when I insist that I don't care about her comments on my weight. I care that she's sneaking around taking photos like a stalker because she doesn't respect me enough to ask my permission to take photos of my baby.
She's paparazzi.
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 She doesn't want to have to follow my rules about covering his face and can't wrench him out of my arms to get pictures of him. So she's just been acting like a creep instead. And I'm nursing him in one of these photos. So this is weird, right? Am I crazy? And there is an edit, but yes, that is weird. And you are not crazy.
Yeah, it's just like it just comes down to a respect thing.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want pictures taken. She's
Yeah.
like, I don't care.
Right.
And you only care because you're overweight.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, like I feel like at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, if I can't trust that you're not going to take sneaky pictures of me sometimes when, you know, my biddies are out because I'm nursing my child,
Yeah.
then I don't want you around
Biddies
anymore.
out.
Biddies out. So, you know, I feel like the next option is just like, okay, well, come back when my child's not nursing and when I'm comfortable having his face on social media.
I think the next option should just be like blowing spitballs.
Yeah.
Just have some spitballs lined
Just
up.
ready to
in
go
a
and-
straw. She's like,
Oh, we do have an edit. Thank you guys for proof that I'm not crazy. You're so welcome. I honestly didn't even think about going home early. I was fully prepared to just grit my teeth for the rest of this visit because we only took one car on the drive up here. I'm packing my son's things, and when husband gets back from fishing with his dad and his brother, I'm asking if he can drive me and the baby back home. I'll be able to have peace of mind and have the house to myself for a few days so I can get things in order before the kids have to go back to school. And we do have a second edit / update. Husband is back and they're home from fishing early because brother-in-law lost his pole and they forgot to bring any spares.
dang, how many drinks did they have on the boat?
He and I have been texting since he left early this morning, and he's taking the baby and I home, and we're planning on having a conversation about what time spent with his folks will look like going forward on the drive back. Thank you all for the advice and giving me the gumption to leave early and keeping me company with your comments while I packed my stuff. And we do have a real update here. A big time update.
Yeah, big time update,
Mm-hmm.
big time rush.
Uh-oh, let's rush on into this big time update. Okay, I wasn't going to update because I got home with the baby and settled in and thought nothing of it. Just communicated with my husband and my 14-year-old through texts and phone calls while they were gone, but problems started to follow pretty soon after. After my husband returned to his parents' house without the baby and I, his mother huffed and started grumbling about how dramatic I am, how possessive I am of her baby.
Not your baby.
Not your baby.
Not your baby. It's actually our baby.
Yep.
Not your baby.
It's our baby. It's okay story time's baby.
Yeah, it's my baby.
It's
You're
been
a
member for
dad?
9 months.
Congrats.
I'm gonna be a
Congrats.
dad.
Does that make me an
Wow.
uncle?
Wow.
I'm gonna be the best uncle ever.
Bunkle
Uncle. Well, that could stand for bad uncle too.
or best.
That's for you to decide. But she also started talking about how I was ruining this trip for everyone. Sister-in-law began winding her up, talking about how I didn't want anyone else to build a relationship with the baby. Husband told both of them to mind their business and get a grip, mentioning to mother-in-law that he needed to have a serious talk with her once the kids left with brother-in-law for lunch. Mother-in-law rolled her eyes and walked off. They have a talk, and husband insists to mother-in-law and father-in-law that they can't expect me to roll over and let them stomp all over my limits just because they want access to our baby. That we are the final say in what happens with our children, and if they can't get on board with that, they can forget about seeing them, especially not unsupervised. He told mother-in-law that her sneaking around acting like my word meant nothing was childish and proved that she wasn't trustworthy. And he told both of them to keep their opinions about my weight to themselves. This starts what husband told me later was a practically 2 to 3 hour argument that only stopped because brother-in-law came back with the kids and husband refused to discuss this in front of them. Mother-in-law pulling out crocodile tears and asking why he won't defend her, insisting that I'm trying to ruin their relationship. Husband has never been close with his mother, and that she just wants to show off her baby to her friends and the extended family. Husband responds that if she really wanted to take pictures of the baby, all she had to do was ask for help so he or I could cover the baby's face. Mother-in-law and father-in-law argue that they shouldn't have to ask permission. They're grown adults and can do as they please in their own house.
Dang, well, as also grown adults, we're going to do as we please and leave your house.
Yeah, what? Like,
That's just the dumbest thing. I hate that.
There's no
Well,
logic.
I'm a full-grown adult. I could do what I want. It's
Yeah.
like, well, you're not free of consequence.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You can do that. Great. Here's the consequences.
Yeah.
We don't want to be here.
That's stupid. Husband reminds them that it is our baby, not theirs. And since they felt so strongly, that is why I removed myself from the situation. And if they wanted to see my baby, they could do it at our house, where they'll have to follow our rules. This went back and forth, with mother-in-law eventually shouting and stomping her feet until brother-in-law returned. For the rest of the day, mother-in-law was grumbling under her breath and practically ignoring our older children, even as my 5-year-old was clamoring for her attention. Husband paid her no mind and spent the evening playing board games with the kids and brother-in-law, while sister-in-law and his mother sulked in the kitchen. Fast forward to last night, husband was having a couple of adult sodas with his brother, while mother-in-law and sister-in-law have wine in the kitchen. Father-in-law had gone to bed early and the kids were asleep. Husband hears mother-in-law and sister-in-law giggling to each other, and while casually checking his phone, he sees that mother-in-law has posted all of the photos she took of me on her Facebook page, captioning them with, "OP won't let me see my grandson, so you'll have to excuse her hogging the frame." Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The way their phone would be in a million pieces.
Are we 15? Like, what
I
are we
guess
doing?
so.
Like, where's our emotional maturity at? After
It's-
that whole conversation now, too, you're just like, let's double down
Yeah.
and further alienate
Yeah.
OP,
Right.
my son's wife,
Yeah.
mother of our grandchild.
Oh my God.
Let's do this on purpose. Let's giggle about it like we're in a clique in high school.
Yeah.
The good old burn book.
That is so insane.
Yeah.
In the comments of her post, she was chatting with her sisters about me. Derogatory comments on my hair, as my icon and username reflects I'm a natural redhead, shaming me for my selfishness, and obviously comments on my body. Husband flips his crap, demanding that mother-in-law take the photos down or he'd take her phone from her and do it himself. Apparently, there were more photos than even the ones that we saw at first, and in several of them, my top is fully open, nursing bra unclipped. Mother-in-law is unaware husband is serious and tries teasing him that she thought he wasn't ashamed of being married to a fat woman. Husband rushes into the kitchen, snatches mother-in-law's phone out of her hands after a brief scuffle, deleting all of the photos from mother-in-law's Facebook and then taking them off of her phone altogether before throwing her phone down on the counter and telling her that he was leaving first thing in the morning. Great.
I really imagined when I saw throwing down, I just imagined him spiking that thing into the
Me
floor.
too.
I
That
thought he was like
really what I was hoping.
I thought he was gonna like just grab it and throw it at the wall.
Which
yeah.
would be wrong because it's destruction of property
I-
and the cell phones are expensive.
Yeah.
But it would have been
But-
satisfying reading about it.
Yeah, don't do it, guys. That's terrible. That's like illegal.
The best thing you can do is like get the phone, all right? You take a piece of meat. You attach the piece of meat to the phone. You throw the meat out back. A hawk comes, swoops down and takes the phone and the meat
You
away.
yell pull.
Because what are they going to do? Prosecute a bird?
There you go.
They don't know bird law.
Sorry. Yeah, the birds don't play by our rules here.
Yeah.
They're-
Good luck
they're-
retaining a bird lawyer.
They're literally above us in that sense.
They are above us.
Oh my goodness. Mother-in-law scowls and starts shouting that it isn't fair that he's taking my side. He responds that he loves me, that it isn't my side versus hers, it's our side versus hers.
Boom.
Boom! Best line ever.
Boom.
I'm pretty out of the loop about all of this at this point. I've been cleaning the house, looking after the baby, and dealing with the colds that I was apparently incubating for the first week of our visit. So I get a call from Hubs while I'm doing laundry in the basement. He's in his car, trying to keep himself calm, but says that he'll be home early with the kids in the morning, and that he wanted to have a discussion with me about our plans moving forward. He tells me what happened. I calm him down, and we both head to bed. And by the way, you can head to your favorite podcast platform, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever, and search OK Storytime, because you're going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one on there. Go
Oh
over.
yeah.
And
And they're great for learning how to not be. How
Exactly.
to not be a mother-in-law.
Exactly.
This is a great story for that. Don't be this mother-in-law.
Do not do it. There is a little bit more to the story, but yeah, I'm very satisfied with how the husband is reacting. We got
Yeah.
the photos down from Facebook, out of the phone,
Yeah.
and hopefully that slam was hard enough, maybe chip some things.
Yeah, maybe like
chip some
maybe the
glass.
camera doesn't work as well anymore.
Yeah,
That's what we need to make sure.
that
No more
actually, yeah,
pictures.
that would be perfect. That'd be perfect.
But yeah, perfect. 10 out of 10 I give that guy. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. You made a right choice, OP.
10 out of 10. That's coming from a bird lawyer.
You heard it first. Heard it here first, folks. So fast forward to this morning, and I get up early with the baby to have breakfast and coffee. Hubs arrives with 14, 10, and 5-year-olds at about 6 a.m. We have breakfast, and then the kids peel off to do their own thing. Our daughters leave for their friend's house, and the 5-year-old goes into the basement den to watch cartoons on the big TV. Hubs and I talk, and he says that he's done with that annual visit to his parents' place and that he's planning to have some one-on-one time with his brother a few times a year instead. We go over a plan of action in terms of much stricter boundaries, deciding that the kids won't be going to the in-laws' house anymore, and while the in-laws visit us at our house, if they act out, they'll be punted out. Mother-in-law has been blowing up his phone since he left, but he's ignoring her for the time being and helping me with cleaning. He also sheepishly admitted that as disrespectful and frustrating as mother-in-law's creepy photos were, they'd given him a new appreciation for my round face. Aw, I picked a winner, y'all, truly. And that's the end of that story.
My wife and I wanted to move out, but my mother's making it difficult.
I'm making it so hard, Mom.
My wife, 23 female, and I, 23 male, have been married for 8 months and have been living with my parents while attending graduate school. Before getting married, my parents helped a ton with our wedding and offered us the chance to stay with them as long as we needed, rent-free, in order to save as much money as possible and buy a house. We live in a very high cost of living major city, and houses are north of $1 million. What the heck? You live in LA? However, living at home after marriage has not been easy due to several dynamics. By the way, this comes from CSB Huller 5, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
And baby, we're here to give good advice truthfully. But we don't have all the answers, baby. We don't. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. OP says, my mom and wife have had a very hot and cold relationship since they've met. Since she moved in, my mom has been highly critical of my wife, both privately to me and in front of my wife. She has criticized her cleaning ability, her family's, my in-laws, cleanliness, her willingness to work, her commitment to family values, more on that later, her personal hygiene, and her treatment of me. This is all what comes to mind in the moment, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot. Mom believes my wife has changed me and made me less involved with my family and turned me into an unclean person. She called my wife a filthy animal because of her not agreeing with how my wife takes care of herself as it relates to her shower routine and how she maintains a room. I need more info on that. My parents have always been clean freaks, and while I would consider myself a clean person, I'm not as obsessive about it as them. As alluded to, my mom comes into our room and reorganizes stuff when we've expressed a desire for privacy. I know it's their house, but a new couple, come on. She also has this fixation on rules, and my wife doing things exactly the way my family does, with cleaning and maintaining the house, amongst other things. To put it simply, my family and my wife do things very differently. Now, to be very clear, I have stood up for my wife and have sternly denounced any commentary about her, but this has not dissuaded my mom. My mom and wife also have different overall worldviews. Mom is radically enmeshed with her family, parents, and siblings, and if anyone remotely criticizes them or their ways, she explodes and says something along the lines of, "How dare you? They did so much for you." It's basically guilt tripping one into thinking they are indebted to her family. Yes, I will admit my grandparents, aunts, and uncles have done a lot for me, but to leverage this to control one's actions feels wrong. She was sheltered by her parents and has the exact same mentality and worldview they do. They come from a rural village and did not achieve higher levels of education, so possibly lack critical thinking ability. My wife, on the other hand, is a very simple soul.
Yeah.
She's a simple
She's
soul.
just a simple soul.
And had a simple upbringing. She's from a provincial town
It's
in a
not
quiet
the
village.
law of this provincial life.
Got it. She can be temperamental and confrontational, which at times has exacerbated issues between them, but she doesn't want to cause problems. Like me, she just wants to have peace and a good marriage with the same autonomy that an average couple would enjoy. My wife and I are very religious, and because of our views, we could not attend a family member of a different faith's function early on in our marriage. My mom threw a fit for a good few weeks saying that I was selfish, losing my family values, and insulting other religions. This family member attended my wedding, and I care for them very much, and I have no qualms about their beliefs. But I stood my ground and said, "You are telling me to respect other beliefs, but you are not respecting mine." I was very respectful while insults were levied at me left, right, and center.
Great
That's
game.
interesting.
Left, right, center. Great game.
Also, great podcast on NPR.
Never listen.
Anyway, that is interesting to me because I don't know what your religion is. So, it might be in your religion that you can't participate in any other like masses or ceremonies and stuff of different religions. But usually it's like the other way around where certain religions are like, this is a closed ceremony.
Right.
And other people who are not part of this religion can't come in. But I don't know if I've
never
heard of like the other way around. Like I can't come to yours, especially for a wedding. That is interesting.
Maybe they just meant it in the other way of like, I'm not allowed to enter that space that you guys are having it in or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
From this, other issues built up and things reached a point where my wife and I had to stay at our parents' place for 2 weeks in December. Things improved gradually when we got back and there were smaller hiccups here and there, but nothing major. This was until about a month ago when I used some of my savings, money we got from our wedding gifts, to pay for some courses and counseling. I transferred the money from my savings account, which is joint with my wife, to my checkings account, which my mom is my guarantor on, and I am the same for hers, to pay my credit card off. She flipped out because I had initially agreed to use the money for a down payment on a property. While that was still the plan, I don't want to accrue interest on my credit card, and I'd rather borrow from myself than pay interest and refill my savings later on. I was called selfish for seeking out counseling for the previous issues, and this turned into a big fiasco. Mom insisted on seeing the bank statements, but I told her no, it's not her concern. But she leveraged my grandparents again and said they were hurt by my behavior and that I broke their trust. Because you were paying off your credit card?
Yeah. Huh?
What?
Also, Jazzy says Jehovah Witness, maybe?
That's what I was thinking, because
Could
they
be.
can't celebrate like any holidays or
Yeah.
anything. So maybe
Could be.
this did not bother me as I knew it was an empty threat. However, I had no choice but to show her because of relentless pressure and it affecting my wife's academics. She ended up failing her midterm because of all the stress my mom put on us. From there, things got better again, but the lingering fear of another outburst has been in the back of my head and my wife's. The comfort of home and sense of security has all but disappeared. This was the third outburst my mom had. Now, I have not mentioned my dad, and he has his share of issues too. He initially was on my side throughout all these issues, but when faced with my mom, he switched up on me and levied insults about my wife and I. He told me that we got married too soon. He got married at the same age I did. Well, maybe he knows. Maybe he's like, I got married too soon. I'm married to your mom.
He's like, I know it's too soon because every day I'm reminded that it was too soon.
Every day I regret it.
Rough.
We're immature that we didn't contribute around the house, which is false. We contribute to the cooking and cleaning as much as everyone else. But due to us being the new couple, there seems to be an expectation that we do more, despite being in grad school. That she was spoiled, lazy, and not prepared for marriage. He also told me that I was abandoning my mother in favor of my wife.
Sounds like what you should do is favor your wife before your mother.
You would think so?
Did I miss the fact of why they can't not live in this house anymore?
Well, they're saving up for a
Okay.
house, but I do
Finances.
agree that they shouldn't live in this house. 'Cause
Right.
it's
Could
not
we
working
maybe
out.
get a cheap apartment and
Yeah.
just deal with like tiny space somehow?
Like, I don't know. I guess you have to decide whether or not you want to deal with your parents for longer or if you want to wait longer to get a house.
right. Because I feel like at this point, just getting out of there.
Yeah.
Like saving. Sometimes you got to pay to save your sanity a little bit.
Yeah. Whenever my wife cooks, she usually cooks for the whole family, but sometimes for just me and her. She cleans up after herself, but he goes back and cleans up again when there is negligible to no mess, and he in turn points out the small things that were missed. He does the same when she cleans the bathroom or sweeps the floors, but when me and my sister do those things, he leaves it be. He also always hovers over my wife when she's cooking, telling her to place dishes in a certain place or other small technicalities when he himself does not cook at all. Being in school, we also tend to sleep late some nights and in turn sleep in the next day. We sleep the same 6 to 9 hours as everyone else, and in turn get called lazy. This is largely due to us having to contribute around the house on my parents' schedules and put aside our own work. We cannot do any focused work in the earlier parts of the day, and it tends to get left to the later parts of the day after housework and any preventative maintenance work is done. By the time we are done working and spending some time with one another, as is the norm for new couples, we finally go to bed around 2 to 3 a.m. most nights. Now, despite all of the above, besides tempers flaring a few times on our end, my wife and I have stood up for ourselves while trying to be respectful despite being insulted at every turn. I have been told I am selfish, lacking family values, and that I am a disgrace. Never once stepped out of line growing up and have always been well behaved and good in school. So after all the issues, wife and I decided to look for our own place.
Look at that.
Well, would you look at
that?
Without telling mine or her parents. We found a place and signed on a lease. My father-in-law owns a business and co-signed with us. So we told him first. We then told my mother-in-law and sister-in-laws because we were staying over this past weekend when we got approved and signed the lease. Now the hurdle is breaking it to my family. I told my sister first thing when I got home and told my dad the next day. My sister told me it was a mistake not telling my parents I was looking for a place, but if I did, they would have tried to veto my efforts relentlessly due to a deep-held belief her and my grandparents hold that renting is throwing your money away, as well as a superiority complex with home ownership.
Great people.
Why are we still friends? Why are we still talking to these people? Why are we still friends with your parents? Get them out of your life. My mom literally told me, ooh, do you want to rent a ghetto apartment? Like,
Okay, excuse me, mother.
she stopped herself, but was going to say my wife's uncles, who rent and are happy doing so. So many people rent. So
Like-
many people rent. Do you know how bad the housing market is?
Do you know how bad the housing market is?
Do you know how expensive it is to buy a house?
Do you know how expensive it is to rent an apartment even?
It's gonna be a long time before I buy a house. Maybe if I get one. I don't know. I might live with multiple people.
So you should figure out the taxes first.
Yeah.
How do taxes first?
It's gonna be a long time. And your mom stinks.
I thought you
Mom's
were
gonna
just gonna
stink for a
say,
long
and
time,
your
too."
mom.
And your mom. I told my dad, and he had mixed emotions as he thought I was going to stay for 2 to 3 years, as initially planned, but given the situation, I want to preserve the integrity of my family ties and believe that it is best for everyone if wife and I move out. I also want autonomy, as my family is very controlling and expects us to do things the way they did. Now, Dad said it was an eventuality, but said he felt betrayed and deceived by me not consulting him and Mom. He also said he was confused and did not know how to feel, and I could see he was holding back tears when I told him. He said it was a slap in the face, and it showed I thought very little of my relationship with my parents. Also said that it was embarrassing for him and Mom because we were moving out, as it would signal to the rest of the family and my in-laws that there were problems. Well, there are problems. It would be a correct signal It's an SOS.
Just get out to our own place.
Now, I have not told my mom yet because she will go nuclear and throw a huge fit, as she did when I previously did things my own way. Nor have I told my grandparents, who I argued with previously about this subject. They all want me to buy a house or condo, which will cost me $6 to $10K or so monthly after all expenses. Whereas if I rent, I can keep my and my wife's expenses under $3,500. The purpose of my post is to ask, how should I approach the situation now in terms of telling my mom and grandparents? I also want to know if I was wrong in any way possible. I talked to 2 different therapists. One is in my culture and religion, and another who was secular, and they both told me to move out ASAP. I want to know if I was justified in doing what I did without consulting my parents, and if there was any potential strain or ending of ties, if it would have been my fault. Thanks for reading my long post, and I appreciate any help. And there are some comments, but do you have any final comments of your own?
No, I think that moving out was the right idea. I think even if you had a place before you told him, nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah,
a little safety net to jump to.
People move out.
Yeah.
People move out. That is the way of life.
Yeah.
That's just how life goes.
You will
life
have
is
so much more peace.
Carousel of lease agreements.
I hate it.
Comment 1. Please tell me you have closed the bank account you have with your mom.
Oh, yeah.
Reply, listen to this, OP. You need to disentangle every aspect of control your mother has on you. Don't trust that bank account you have with her. Don't keep your money there. I'm surprised your wife didn't leave already. Her marital bedroom is being reviewed by your mother. Her cooking and cleaning is being reviewed by your father. They're insulting her, they're passive-aggressive towards her, and there are apparently no boundaries between them and both of you. They sound dreadfully rude and imposing. You are not wrong for planning without their approval or control. Your in-laws sound great and supportive. If you feel your parents will get in the way of the move itself somehow, then get your necessary things out of that house and into the apartment first. Even if you have no furniture to start off with, it will be fine. Many married couples before you have started with a mattress on the floor and laundry from their travel bags and gotten on their feet from there. You can do it. Keep in mind that if it's too much drama once you're moved out, you don't have to interact with your mother whenever she's acting like this. Make an excuse and hang up the phone. Give her only so much contact as she's capable of being respectful with. She'll learn the program if she wants to be a part of your life. Just enjoy your life with your wife.
Enjoy your life with your wife.
It rhymes. It rhymes. Edit. I don't know if this was clear, but the move-in date for our new place is in 11 days. Still gives us 2-ish weeks at my parents' place. I will provide updates as things progress. And there is another update. And there you go. Do you have any thoughts before we get into the update?
No, I feel like everything's the same still. That maybe when everybody gets out and cools down for a little bit, maybe they'll realize.
Yeah,
I'm not
that they
sure
were
you're
being
going to get apologies,
unreasonable.
but it'd be nice.
It would be nice. Update, I was out with my dad to weekly worship, and he began chastising me and my wife for the decision. I stood my ground and basically said we are leaving because of the types and frequency of problems living together has caused, and that if we are to have any relationship, then we need distance. He said it was disgraceful of me to not consult them, to which I replied, if I consulted you, there would be more issues and you would attempt to veto my decision. He said I am throwing everything they taught me out the window and that all their work raising me now means nothing. But you know what means everything to us? When you listen to full episodes of stories just like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Can I suggest
I don't know.
iHeartRadio maybe?
What's your favorite podcast app?
Yeah.
It's just us.
Who are we?
Okay, story time. But there's a little bit left to the story. I pointed out that while we were thankful for the favor they did by letting us stay, it seems that all help has strings attached and that this controlling behavior is why we need to leave. He said there wouldn't be a problem if you adhered to the agreement and stayed for 2 to 3 years. Why does he want you there so bad?
So he can criticize your cooking and your cleaning.
He's like, we had a good thing going. I
I have
criticized
no one to
you.
criticize anymore.
You cried, and that was a cycle.
It's great.
That's what I taught you. I taught you to take it when I criticized you. But I'm like, the situation has changed and is no longer tenable for us. Another qualm of his was that my wife influenced me, to which I replied it was the decision we made purely for our well-being and something we need. He had no desire to listen to my perspective and just wanted it to berate me. As he said exactly, I don't care what your intentions are. This is what it is. This is exactly why I'm moving out. To break this cycle of control.
Yeah.
Break the chains.
Yeah.
Viva la revolucion.
Yeah.
I am going to tell my mom in about 45 minutes. Wish me luck. I know people said don't tell her, but cultural ramifications run deep here, so I will have to tell her. Boo boy. But that's the end of that, folks.
I'm scared to watch my niece again after the stunt she pulled.
Oh, she tried to jump over 72 school buses.
Wow, this turned into a novella. This happened a couple of weeks ago, but I'm posting here due to pressure being put on me by her mother. I'll start with a little background. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Uncle 1212. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So my brother Jeff, 28 male, was and is reckless throughout high school. He dated many girls, sometimes more than one at once, and was always cutting class to smoke or meet a girl. I was already off to college, but my parents were always on his case, and it seemed like whenever I was home, he was being punished for something or another. Well, eventually he went to college himself, and everything caught up with him. He grew up in a small town, and people let him get away with a lot. He ended up getting punted out of school for a series of pranks and incidences. Instead of learning his lesson, he just came home and started partying and sleeping around. Cut to a few years later, and he gets Janice pregnant. None of us were surprised. He was always careless. What did surprise us, that Janice kept the kid. We call her Natalie. Jeff freaked out the whole pregnancy and ended up ignoring the fact that it even happened. Except for child support, he has done nothing to do with his child despite us pleading with him to be in her life. It's not that he's a bad guy. He just avoids anything serious in life. Anyway, cut to now. And Natalie is an absolutely awesome young lady. She would be the best thing to happen to my brother if he would acknowledge her. Janice's parents disowned her for a bit for ruining her life by having Natalie. So me and my parents have always helped out. I do this for Natalie because I actually am not fond of Janice. She confided to me once that she only had Natalie thinking Jeff would step up and she could be a stay-at-home mom. She has a history of bringing random guys home around my niece. Also, I don't think it's ever been physical. I think she is abusing Natalie. Her punishments are often extreme. She once took everything out of Natalie's room except her bed because she drew on the wall with crayon. I live only a couple towns over, more than an hour's drive, so I'm happy to take Natalie for a weekend or so over the last summer. She stayed with me for a month. I think Janice looks forward to these as times to spend partying and going out with men. Natalie is funny and sometimes very profound, and we have a blast exploring the city together. She's also very smart sometimes in devious ways, which will be important for later. The incident happened a couple of weeks ago while she was staying the weekend with me. It was Friday afternoon evening, and we are at the grocery store. If I'm watching her, we get up early on Saturdays and watch cartoons and eat cereals, so we always pick a box of cereal to eat. I was talking to my girlfriend on the phone when Natalie comes up with the family-sized Frosted Flakes. She's been beaming it like she just won a contest. I tell her it was a nice try, but put it back and get a regular size, and she starts to throw a tantrum. I regret this, but between her and my girlfriend, I was getting a bit stressed, so I snapped at her to put it back. I regretted it instantly. She looked stunned for a second. This is the first time I've ever snapped at her, and this alone makes me feel horrible. Then hung her head and went to put it back. I decided to finish the phone call and just let her get the big box. She just standing there in the aisle with her head hanging. My heartstrings were being yanked at this point. I go up to grab the box she had, but when my hand touches her shoulder, she clowns away and yells, "Get away from me!" loud enough that a few people turned their heads. I was a bit shocked myself and moved towards her again, and she really started on it. She kept yelling for me to get away, asking who I was, and yelling for help. Now I was getting a bit terrified, so I began begging her to please stop, that she's going to get in serious trouble. Even though I was really more scared of what was going to happen to me, finally a manager approaches and starts talking to her. She tells him that she doesn't know me and can't find her mom. Oh no, my heart is breaking a bit right now, and I'm panicking a bit, especially when the manager asked over the radio for the police to be called. I guess he saw that I wasn't running, so he asked me to step into his office with him and that they would watch Natalie. What followed was the scariest 3 hours of my life. First, the police came and asked me a bunch of questions. They had Natalie in another room. After a while, they believed me but couldn't release her to anyone but her legal guardian. They called Janice and requested that she come pick up her daughter. So Janice had to leave work early Drive about an hour and a half to come get Natalie. To say she was pissed at her daughter would be an understatement. A piece of me regrets letting Janice leave with her when she was so mad, but there wasn't much I could do. Everyone was full apologies to me. The manager, the police, and especially Janice. Natalie just shut down and wouldn't look at me. I was numb at that point, and at the time, it was like a bad dream. I went home and laid in bed until some point, and I just went to sleep. Now it's been about 2 weeks, and Janice has been calling or texting me almost every day saying I can come by when I can. She tells me that Natalie wants to apologize and feels really bad that she hurt her uncle like that. And I know I should, but the idea of being around her right now makes my anxiety spike. Janice has also been pushing me, taking her for a few weekends during the holidays. That used to bring me joy, but now I'm just scared. I keep thinking, what if someone less reasonable than the manager came along and thought I was kidnapping Natalie? I could be in the hospital. But then I go back to her being a kid. She didn't think about the consequences. She probably is really sorry. Then I feel guilty and I can't get over it. What do I do, Reddit? How do I get back to a normal relationship with my niece after this? We got an edit. We can get into it. But what do you think, Dakota?
Well,
It's
like,
wild.
You're scared like it's okay. Well, first of all, kid probably is doing this because they saw something on YouTube or on TV, or they saw this somewhere where someone has done this. Clearly, they did not come up with this idea on their own. They are 7. They don't understand the implications and the seriousness of, they're just going, I can say this and it'll make me get out of this. Then he'll lose, or it's I win.
Yeah.
She's not understanding. That's a lose-lose, clearly. Anyway, I think your fear is misplaced. I don't know.
It sucks. You've seen the devious work she has done before, so this shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah,
I don't know if this altercation makes you more scared, then I would be more mad at my niece than scared of the police coming to me. I would be more like, hey, you don't understand how much of a protector and how much I'm looking after you to say that about me. I'm hurt that you've displaced your trust in me. Not, I'm afraid someone's going to beat me up. Like, no, that's...
Right.
If I'm with my niece and someone's like, she pulls a stunt and they're like, hey, who are you? I'm going to be like, I'm her uncle. This is proof. Call the police. Let's have the police interact. Right. I'm not leaving her side. I'm protecting her. Let's get the police involved. But we got an edit. Okay, wow. I don't know what to think anymore. First off, I don't have a problem saying no to the girl. I've said it a ton. It was about the way I said it. I've never been that abrupt with her. Some people are also bringing up possibilities I hadn't considered. I always hear on the news or see articles on Facebook about a man falsely accused of spicy-related misconduct. Natalie has always had a prankster mindset, but it's never been anything close to this, and never once has she hurt me. I think it's best if I don't see her alone for a bit. I can visit her at my parents', and I've also been toying with the idea of introducing her and my girlfriend. We've been going out about 6 months now, and she's the coolest. So maybe the 3 of us could hang out. It's really upsetting because I'm going to miss chilling with her like we used to. I feel like I got to be a kid all over again. The other problem is that Janice is going to be all over me to take care of her. Thanks for the replies, guys. I've read them, all of them. Even if I haven't responded, I'll edit and update if anything new happens. We got some comments. Oh, wow. I was so angry reading this. I can't imagine how upset you must be. I sincerely hope her mom handled her when they got home. That's really effed up and scary manipulative for a child at that age. Honestly, this is just one of those crappy kid things they do. They like to push boundaries and don't understand their actions can have serious consequences. The kid doesn't have the emotional maturity to understand how badly this could have implicated you. I'd be terrified of this happening again, because what if she says something weirder when you're alone with her? I'm genuinely afraid for men in these situations because of that whole absurd social stigma that arises when a man is seen taking care of a little girl. If this happened to my significant other, I wouldn't really want him around the kids alone much. Can you discuss these concerns with the mom and what she thinks? We got an update. It's been a very emotional week for me, and I wouldn't say things have blown over, but I wanted to update everyone on what has happened. First, thank you all. Everyone's advice has been helpful, blah, 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 blah. Now, before I get into what happened with Natalie, I need to go over a couple of things. One is that I won't be avoiding Natalie no matter what happens. Even if we don't ever hang out one-on-one, I would never conceive of not seeing her again. Maybe that makes me an idiot. Fine, I'm an idiot. Second thing is the weird relationship with me and Janice have. For Natalie's first year, Janice was a really great mom. She lived with my parents, and they supported her and Natalie. Janice didn't even work. I started coming over more and more frequently after a few months of offering to watch my niece so my parents and Janice could have a break. Even over the next couple of years, as Janice got a job and moved into her apartment, I was still in town and made myself available to babysit. Well, I mentioned how Janice and Natalie thinking my brother would still take care of them. Well, I think she started transferring those feelings to me. At the time, I was a nerdy kid, and Janice was an attractive girl. I wasn't used to attention from attractive girls. We never actually went on a date or had spicy sleep, but there were nights where we hooked up. But she always wanted more, and for me, the nights we hooked up were the moments of weakness. She had a kid with my brother, after all. Anyways, fast forward to now, Janice acts as if she got me wrapped around her finger, and that's the one who got away. I've never robbed her of this perspective because it makes it easier to see Natalie. She doesn't know about my girlfriend. This will be more important. Oh my gosh. This dude just doesn't know how to actually have conversations with people. And this is why he's getting into this. Oh my god.
That's what I'm saying. This is what I've been saying.
So he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be with I want to see my niece Natalie, and I'm not going to get rid of this mommy and daddy complex here because I'll get to see Natalie." Dude.
Yeah, you gotta learn how to talk right, dude. These are talking right situations.
And he's been dating this girl for 6 months.
You
and
have
hasn't told
to
Janice?
level up your speech. Come on, man.
Charisma increase.
For real, dude. You need charisma increase.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
This makes sense why Janice has because I was like, why is OP okay with taking care of Natalie so easily? This makes sense now.
Yeah, because they're freaking whoopsh.
I called my dad after I posted on Sunday, and we had a long talk about what happened. My dad is good to go to advice because he can see things from multiple angles. He said a lot of the same things I heard from Reddit. When I brought up therapy or counseling because of possible abuse, he mentioned some disturbing things. He said that Natalie had some other problems with guys that Janice would bring home. No, my hair was standing up on my neck when he said that. But it's not as bad as it could be, I guess. At least that's what she's willing to share. Just some things like being able to hear weird noises from her mom's room when guys come over, or one of them getting wasted and yelling at her or Janice. That got me pretty mad, especially because Janice has already had a harmful relationship that we all helped her get away from. So the fact that she was bringing guys back who were yelling at them is worrisome. Anyways, I made plans with my dad to see Natalie on Wednesday at my parents'. Janice had already called once while I was talking to my dad, so I rang her back. This was one I got nervous because I knew she was going to try and guilt trip me into watching my niece, but I managed to hold my ground. I explained to her that I didn't feel comfortable seeing Natalie alone for a bit. I would still see her at my parents' or at a place if our schedules aligned, but I couldn't see her alone at least until the new year, and we would revisit it. Janice didn't take this well. She kept telling me she had made plans the weekend after Thanksgiving and that I was putting her in a real bind. I tried explaining that if she put herself in a bind, if she made plans without confirming, I could help. She didn't like that. The real drama, though, happened when I floated the idea that my girlfriend could come down sometime and meet Natalie. Janice got real upset and then started accusing me of ignoring Natalie and her so I could be with my girlfriend. I really didn't care about the grocery store incident. I just wanted an out. Oh, so he's like getting at her. He's like, this whole grocery store thing's a ruse so you can hang out with your girlfriend instead of Natalie. You're trying to get out of seeing Natalie.
Does his girlfriend know that he cheated on her with Janice?
No. He's been dating his girlfriend for 6 months. He used to hook up with Janice in the past. They used to make out and stuff in the past.
Not while he was with his new girlfriend.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, this story's not confusing me.
Does everyone need a TLDR? Dig a spot. Give me a TLDR.
I wasn't the only one thinking that.
I think
for
you were.
sure.
I
No,
think you were.
I know I wasn't. For a fact,
Anyways,
I know.
So he just hasn't told Janice about his girlfriend, and Janice thinks that there's some kind of relationship going on.
Yeah, just stop it. Stop doing this. You can't be in you. None of this is working for anybody. Least of all you, OP.
Yeah. I argued as best as I could, but she hung up after a few minutes. Not sure what's going to happen with that. And we come to Wednesday. I was so nervous all day. I didn't get much work done. I just stared at the clock and tried to ignore what I had to do. The whole ride down, my palms were sweating. I didn't know what to expect. When I walked through the door, my parents greeted me. and told me they'd go get Natalie. She had been in her room since she got out of school. I sat on the couch and tried to plan what I was going to say. She came down and had her head hanging down, and I went up and hugged her, and we both started crying. I said I missed her, and she was really starting blubbering and kept saying she was sorry over and over. I just kept hugging her until she calmed down a bit. I raised her head and looked in her eyes and told her I knew she was sorry, but that things had changed now, and she couldn't come over to my place for a bit. She started crying again, saying she was sorry over and over, and kept asking me not to leave her like Tim. That got my attention. Tim was a divorced guy that Janice saw for a few months, and was probably the best guy she's seen. Yet, he had his own boy, who was a couple years younger than Natalie, so he knew what raising a kid was like. Well, Natalie loved him. Actually, we all loved him. He was funny, easy to get along with, had a decent job. We were all hoping that Tim would be around permanently, but unfortunately, Janice and him had a falling out and broke up. Well, after asking Natalie why she was saying that, she told me that her mom had not only told her that Tim was leaving, but it was her fault, and that if she did anything like that, what she did in the supermarket again, then I would leave forever too. Oh my gosh, get Natalie out.
I've never seen a more like just acutely child breaking sentence than that. That's crazy.
What did Red Boy want?
That's like
Red Bull, why'd you give up?
It should be illegal for you to raise a child if you say something like that to your innocent child. Oh my God.
Wow. Janice, we got to
Dude.
OP adopt Natalie, please.
We're banning all stories with the name Janice after
From now
today.
on. Yeah. Me and my parents were pretty mad after hearing that. I reassured her that I would never leave her and that she stuck with me. I did tell her that what she did to hurt me was dangerous and we couldn't spend much time together like we used to for a while. I used the line that Like It Mistress posted in the last thread. I love you, but I don't love what you did. She told me she was sorry over and over, and I accepted her apology. I hung around until her bedtime. We watched Adventure Time. I helped her with her homework and put her to bed. We were both in a much better mood by then. By the way, you could be in a much better mood by listening to more stories just like this one. Go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify, and you will be in the best mood you can ever possibly be in listening to our stories. If Jeff and Janice got together, Janice probably has a lot of attributions like Jeff. 2, she is not very the smartest person because she thought that Jeff would stay with her whenever she had the kid. And 3, she's not really ready or built to be a mother yet because she was like, whenever she was a stay-at-home mom, basically, she was a great mom. But whenever she has to go work and provide for her kid, she's not ready for that. And she's thinking she's doing the best that she can, but she's being very selfish and prioritizing herself rather than her kid because she was hoping to be a part of the family, but now she's stuck with this. And I think it's time for Janice to just give Natalie up.
Just a horrific chain of events that, dude, you're breaking your kid.
Yeah.
You're breaking your kid like acutely.
Yeah.
By saying, God, I truly can't imagine what hearing something like that at 7 would do to me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even know it. And like, oh my God. That's like not even a thing you're conscious of. I think it's something that you like slowly over time, you just go, why do I think this? And it's like, oh, it's because my mom told me I was the reason Tim left when I was 7. Now that's why I think everything's my fault.
Yeah. Back to the story. I'm now in another weird spot. On one hand, I want to chew Janice out big time for pulling all that crap on my niece's shoulders. On the other, I'm actually afraid that if I poke the bear too much, Janice may withhold her daughter from me indefinitely. I think Janice feels like she lost control of the situation and maybe do something drastic to get it back. I do risk being cut out of my niece's life by putting her mom in her place. Is there anyone we can call? Thanks in advance. We got a comment. I do remember reading your first post a while ago and not really knowing what to say, but I actually have some advice here. I spent the majority of my younger years being taken care of by my grandmother and aunt and uncle. My parents had issues, and I was catered off to them during the weekdays. They were good parents, just made mistakes. I want to say that if she'd been taking care of you as much as she is, she considers you a father too. I used to tell people I had 3 moms, my grandmother, my aunt, and my mom, and called my cousins my brother and sister. Lines of uncle, aunt, grandmother, mom, dad are blurred when kids are taken care of in the extended families. In my mom's home country, it's really common to foster your kids out of extended family because you can't afford to take care of them. So I have a lot of relatives who have seen these lines blurred together. And Natalie seems to have an abandonment issues. It seems to me that Janice expects you to take care of her or your brother, and blames Natalie because no one wants a woman with a child or whatever she believes herself and her dating situation. Sleeping with her was a big old mistake, but what you need to focus on is that Natalie gets help. Whatever Janice has taught Natalie about parental love has definitely been warping her ideas about you, and it's making her act out in front of you. Getting her counseling, get her to talk to someone, maybe your mom, and get the full story. Ask her about exactly what happened with Tim. This might sound drastic, but would you or your parents ever consider taking over custody? Opie says it's come up before. Not a serious option, but it's just a case scenario. It would be my parents likely. They were well off and retired early and could be true full-time caretakers. They're in their late 60s though, so I would have to help out, I'm sure. I get the same feeling about Janice. It seems like she hops from one guy to the next, hoping of one of them will start taking care of her and Natalie. I do want to stress real quick that me and Janice did not have intercourse, although we fooled around and got close once or twice. Counseling seems to be conscientious now, but I'm in the last thread, so I will start looking up resources. We got a reply. If you can find a way to have your parents become the legal guardians, please do so. Otherwise, the good that you can do for your Natalie will always be limited by having to tiptoe around Janice. And Janice will keep damaging her and letting others damage her. That's it. Wow, that's the story, guys.
My family banned my dogs from the party, so I'm refusing to attend.
Why are you banning the dogs?
My family and I have always liked Thanksgiving. It's been the one holiday we always spend together as a family. My mom places major emphasis on it being an open house type of event, and since I can remember, we have gone grocery shopping together and cooked a meal together. She even let me host it 4 years ago at my house. By the way, this comes from Dictate This, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I have 2 dogs that my parents love, a beagle and a basset hound. Every time I come home, I put them outside and we all hang out on the back patio. We serve Thanksgiving dinner inside and the dogs get to run around outside. We have been planning Thanksgiving for weeks now. 2 weeks ago, my mom tells me my grandma from out of state is coming. I had my wedding in October and she couldn't come for that, so I'm really excited to include her in our family's Thanksgiving. My sister just had a baby and told me last week when I was visiting that she was not coming to Thanksgiving because she didn't want her newborn around people who had been on planes. She is the mother, it's her choice. All week long, I have been texting my mom, telling her how excited I am to drive 2 hours home and how my new husband and I will be coming with the dogs to stay on Tuesday night through Saturday. We want to spend time with my parents and my grandmother as things have been quite busy with the wedding, new baby, etc. We are off work starting Tuesday and have planned to be there the whole week to see everyone. We were even going to drive over an hour's way to see my sister on Friday and bring her leftovers. My text went mostly unreplied. Busy, I assume. Today I sent a follow-up text after this morning's text saying, again, we are so excited. Can't wait for family time. She responds with, we need to discuss what to do with dogs. With a new baby and an older person for company, they aren't going to be welcome. Apparently, my sister went to a doctor and they've alleviated her concerns about having company from across the country around. I called her and said, hey, so I hear you're coming to Thanksgiving. That's awesome. So what about your son? She replies, we will be bringing him, but the dogs cannot be there. I've been confirming plans for weeks now, and now 6 days out, both she and my mother want me to board the pups. I called the 3 places we use for boarding, and they're all booked. Duh, it's 6 days out from Thanksgiving. I called my mother and expressed that if we have to miss Thanksgiving because of our obligations to the pets, we will, and so be it. She replied that she wants all the family there for Thanksgiving, so just don't shut down on her. I'm feeling really frustrated in this scenario, as I've tried to mitigate options and plans up to this point and have been met with either sounds good or silence. I'm also frustrated that this is somehow on me overreacting when in the text response I did receive from her, it clearly implied the dogs were not welcome, and the only alternative to us coming would be to board the dogs or make the drive only for the day, thus missing out on the family time I've been so looking forward to. There was not even the consideration that the dogs remain outside the entire time we are there, nor the knowledge that neither dog is aggressive and both are very well trained. It was just a, they aren't coming, and now I'm the one who's being blamed for being frustrated. Reddit, am I out of line here? Should I be more understanding and just let this one slide? Or do I have a right to be upset? I feel like if I am told, you're being ridiculous, cut some slack, I will. And if my feelings are validated, I can let this one slide and then prepare better in the future. We have an update. This is a doozy. A Redditor called this in the original post, and the irrational fear of dogs was totally brought on by my sister. Instead of communicating with my husband and me about her concerns, she placed my mother as the middleman and basically gave an ultimatum. If the dogs come for Thanksgiving, she will stay home. This was not made clear to me until I was already at my parents' house with the dogs on Tuesday. After my post on Friday, I contacted my sister and said, hey sis, I'm really sorry if the phone call earlier didn't go so well. I'm really glad you're going to come and that I get to see my nephew. I hope that we can better communicate in the future about having to make changes in plans. I don't want either of us to put either one in a difficult position where we can't communicate well. I love you. She said, oh yeah, no worries. The Thanksgiving planning communication got lost in the shuffle. I deferred to mom and dad since they are calling the shots and hosting this year. I was still under the impression that the issue with the dogs attending Thanksgiving at my parents' stemmed from my mother. I spoke with my mother on Sunday and she said, please bring the dogs. They will remain outside and it really isn't a big deal. I want all the family there, and that includes bringing them since you can't find a place to board them. I went over Tuesday to discover that this issue stemmed from my sister's new mother crazy fears. My mom assured me that it would be fine when my sister arrived with her baby. She would see the dogs, would remain outside and away from the baby at all times. Also, my parents own another house, so if she was still freaked out at seeing this controlled situation, we could move the dogs to the other house, and my husband and I would just go check on them periodically until my sister left on Thanksgiving Day. My sister was only planning on being here for 6 hours, as opposed to me, who was going to stay Tuesday through Sunday, help with Thanksgiving prep, and then make sausage with my dad on Saturday. The prep goes wonderfully, and Thanksgiving Day, we are cooking up a storm. The dogs are tied up outside with my husband and dad, and they are warming up the oil to deep fry a turkey. My sister and her husband drive up, and my dad sees my sister's mouth. The dogs are here. Her husband drives right past the house, turns around, doesn't acknowledge his father-in-law or my husband, and drives the car away. I think that's totally valid. I'm gonna be so for real. I think that's totally valid. No one told her that the dogs were gonna be there. She expressed her concerns. No one said, hey, this is happening, but we have a solution. She pulled up. New mom brain sees the only thing that she put a boundary up for and says, we're going back. And I think that's fine. My sister then calls my mother sobbing, asking how she could do this to her. My mother assures her that the dogs will be away at all times. The baby is less than 4 weeks old. It's not like he will open the sliding glass door and let the dogs in. Also, we can move them to the other house if need be. My sister refuses to budge and says they are going home. My husband texts her husband and says, hey man, I know this issue involves us. We feel painted in a corner. There must be a solution we can come to. We really love you guys and can adjust in any way. Please call me so we can come to a compromise that fits you. Her husband responds, the decision has already been made. Have a nice Thanksgiving. Overnight, my sister continues to text my mother, father, and myself in a group text asking how they could do this to her. We drove down to the marina and waited for you to reach out with a solution, but you didn't. You made me fight it out with my sister, and you know I won't win that fight. And other series of dramatic texts. These were sent around 4 in the morning. I woke up at 5 to send my husband off to work and respond to these texts. I tell her to knock it off and stop blaming our mother and instead text me privately since this issue concerns me and I gladly would have compromised, but not once did she ever speak to me about the dogs being an issue.
So that sounds really petty on your part.
No, that's what I'm saying. OP is being so petty.
Because what are we in middle school? This sounds so middle school-esque.
So she shows up, she's mad, she drives away, no one contacts her.
Yeah.
I'm assuming maybe husbands didn't also tell wives that they reached out.
Well, it
and
was
had that
probably
conversation
the
with each
husbands
other.
thought that everyone communicated because it's all within from the mom.
So then
This is what happens when you have someone
newborn
immediate.
baby
Oh my
mom
gosh.
Is now like they didn't even reach out to see what was up. Like they drove away. They waited nearby
Everyone
to see if
sucks
anyone
here.
would contact them.
Everyone,
They didn't until 4
your
a.m.
family's communication is so unhinged right now. It's so like
Everyone sucks, but I have mad sympathy for
sister, the new mom. Yeah, because she literally came and was shell shocked.
Me. How would we be able to communicate when you two completely shut down? Even husband's name reached out to your husband to try to find a solution. Take this up with me, not our parents. Why it wasn't even addressed with us is beyond me, considering it involved husband and me. She then got very aggressive. She sent in a private text that I let the parents decide what is appropriate. That's what normal people do. Except for you, since you seem to think you run the parents and this whole show. I responded, I will speak to you at another time in which I can appropriately respond. She then proceeded to take what I said and copy it into a group text message with this. I will speak to you at another time in which I can appropriately respond. Thanks. I'm quivering in my boots and can't wait to get yelled at by my little sister. So incredibly appropriate. Let's just continue to rub salt in this wound and not handle this with whatever little grace we have left. Look, we don't see eye to eye on this issue and never will, sis. I realized this was spiraling into an argument that is not pertinent to the situation and definitely headed into territory that could get really ugly. And what good would that do? I have a new nephew and I have had a healthy relationship with my sister for the past few years. And now it has become an attack on me personally because of a miscommunication over dogs. I can't read her mind and she never once explained to me her concern over my dog. She implied it was my mother's own concerns, and it wasn't until I was at my parents' house already with the dogs did I learn this fear stemmed from her. But that wasn't where the argument was going. It was going personal. Not what is needed at 5:30 a.m. Me. Okay, again, let's keep this off the group text. I don't want to react out of frustration because you and I have had a really great relationship for a while now. This whole situation didn't work out well, obviously. I don't want the rest of it to not go well either. I love you and I don't want to be a keyboard warrior and just text with anger, which is why I said that just now. I said, I will speak later because for some reason this became a fight and that isn't what it was about, nor what I want. We are beyond the competitive stage in life, so I don't want that fight. That's one I am unwilling to have. It's not reality. I love you. I wish you would have spoken to me, especially after I reached out again. I'm sad your Thanksgiving was spent alone. I haven't heard anything back. I wanted to diffuse the situation and not get into a personal attacking fight. I want the relationship with my sister to be positive, but I'm afraid that in order to do so, I will have to eat crow on this one, even though I don't feel like I'm really in the wrong here. She did not let me know. How would I know? And if I do let this one lie, am I setting a precedent for when communication falters again in the future that I will come with my tails between my legs and apologize? Always? By the way, you can always count on having stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. Furthermore, I didn't know she felt this aggression towards me and my relationship with my parents. Sure, we are close, but they have gotten closer too. I have believed that the sibling rivalry and competition has been outgrown. She is 32 and a new mother. But if she really feels this way about me because of this one instance, this one issue because she failed to communicate with me, then are all the positive things I've done for her, baby shower, arriving once a week with food for her after the baby, grocery store shopping for her, are all these kind gestures negated now? Reddit, I don't know where to go from here. If I press on and fake an apology to appease my sister, I don't know if I can have a genuine relationship with her because if I unknowingly do something wrong, she will attack my character, and that hurts, you know? So any advice would be helpful. How would you respond? And what are reasonable expectations that I should have about my sister and my relationship moving forward? Wipe my hands clean of her, walk a fine line, or forgive and forget?
What I also got from OP is that she really wasn't taking any real account of like she didn't also communicate.
OP?
Yeah. She just pointed the finger at the sister saying, you didn't communicate. She kind of did. You also kind of did, but you also kind of didn't. Both of you. Again, that's why it's both of you are to blame. Again, your mom too in this mess of no one really communicating here. I think this should be you like, hey, you didn't communicate. I didn't communicate. I apologize. I'm sorry for, not telling you. I want you to be there. I love you. This is Thanksgiving. This should have been a happy time to see my nephew, your son, and like make this a really fun time for the family, not a thing that's like, now we're butting heads, it's competitive, and now we can't talk anymore, and now I'm gonna be petty, and you're gonna be petty, and who's gonna be the pettier one?
I went no contact with my grandmother again.
Grandma, you won't be seeing me anymore.
And this comes directly from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Growing up, I spent a lot of time with my maternal grandmother. My parents both worked, and we were relatively low income, so my dad often dropped me off at her house. My father used to work in the city she lived, about 30 minutes from where I lived. She babysat me and my cousins, hosted sleepovers, and we got extremely close. She felt almost like a mother figure, as me and my mother's relationship had never been particularly strong. Am I saying where it comes from again? By the way, this comes from Desperate Cup 9912, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Okay, now that we have some context, let's get into the initial incident that imploded the relationship I had with my grandmother. In 2020, I, female 18, during peak vid, shaved my head. Yeah, I know, real Britney Spears of me. Did some soul searching, and I realized I was bi. I had always dated men, but around this time, I started dating my friend of 5+ years, whom we will call Jennifer, also female 17. We'd always been kind of flirty and shared mutual friends, but we were never close until then. So, rightfully so, I thought the best person to start my coming out journey with would be my grandmother. So I texted her and told her I had a date coming up, and she asked me, who's the lucky man? So I told her her name is Jennifer. She immediately reacted harshly. She started asking me all these questions, which seems like it wouldn't be a big deal. That's normal relationship stuff. Families ask how long you've known each other, how you met, how old, what are they like, etc. But she kept saying I needed to break up with her because she was underage and I'd end up on the registry. I explained it was none of her business, but if it gave her peace of mind, it didn't matter because we weren't spicily active, and being attracted to the same gender wouldn't put me on a registry alone. But no, she doubled down, saying she was ashamed that I'd grow out of it, and warned labeling myself would change how everyone treated me. I was a little taken aback by her comments and thought she was supposed to be the closest person I had in my family. I told her everything, and my heart was broken by her reaction. Again, I explained we were just going on a date. She just went on to tell me that she was ashamed and that I would grow out of it, and all young women experiment in their teen years.
Grandma,
you're bi!
Your grandma is bi. Grandma, calls coming from inside the house.
She's just sad that she couldn't be bi.
She's like, oh, women do it. and then they stop.
All young women experiment in their teen years and eventually into their early 20s.
Grandma was bi for years.
Even into their
like
early
all
20s.
young women experiment with
When
their
I
first
was
loves.
20.
When I was 20, I had a long-term relationship with a woman.
I had a Jennifer once.
Yes, she was beautiful. We lived together for a short time. We
Now
almost
she's
married.
just my roommate.
And then I grew out of it.
And again warned me that I shouldn't label myself because it would affect the way everyone would treat me. Her reaction made me too scared to come out to anyone else. After explaining the whole situation, Jennifer was understanding and extremely supportive. So was her family, so this was really comforting. A couple of months later, after me and Jennifer were official, we came up with a game plan. One night, I sat down and wrote my parents a letter coming out, explaining what happened with my grandmother, including direct quotes from our text conversation and some other details that followed the text conversation, and why I'd be going low/no contact with her. I gave my parents the letter and told them to read it after I left the house, but that I would be going to stay the night with Jennifer, which at the time was not an uncommon thing. My parents texted me immediately after I left the house, and they had some time to read the letter. And they told me they loved me and accepted me no matter what. Eventually, the rest of the family found out they were accepting, and it wasn't exactly a shock to most. Jennifer and I broke up 8 to 9 months later for unrelated reasons. However, I was still low to no contact with my grandmother. My mother would try and smooth things over, invite me to holidays at her house, and tell my grandmother about the different things going on in my life, as I would not respond to her messages or attempts at contact. If I did happen to respond, I would be very short and would not give much effort. While my mother tried to be the peacemaker, as this was her mother, this situation was the final straw for my father. My father had always had issues with my maternal grandmother due to multiple manipulative events that happened over the years he had been with my mother, and her disrespecting me was the straw that broke the camel's back. Looking back, it made a lot of sense that he didn't really like her, and I could tell he just never said anything because he didn't want to taint the relationship I had with her. However, now that said relationship was tainted on her accord, he no longer felt the need to hide his feelings about her from me. During this time, my mother, trying to play peacekeeper, really only further put a strain on our relationship, and my father was really my rock through this situation. Months after me and Jennifer had broken up, I was on a trip to Eugene with my best friend at the time, and my grandmother had called me while we were driving home. I had just kind of looked at my friend and she was like, if you want to take this call, I'm here for you and I will be your moral support. I know you have a lot you want to say to her. So I answered the call for the first time in months. The conversation started casual. How have you been? What are you doing? Etc. She could tell I was being short, and so she finally just came right out with it. Do you know how hard it was for me to keep your little secret when you told me you were bi? Because it was so hard for me to not say anything and to not talk to my daughter and tell her about what you were doing. When I reiterated that it wasn't her news to share, she continued gaslighting and guilt tripping. This destroyed any hope I had of reconciling. I told her off and explained she was why I was going to stay low contact. Around that same time was when I came to realize just how controlling she could be. To go back to the additional information I said I included in my coming out letter to my parents, that also helped me come to the conclusion that she was extremely manipulative. I came out to her around Halloween. Shortly after is my mother's birthday. For my mother's birthday, we had a get-together at my paternal grandparents' house in which we had both sides of the family over for a big dinner. At some point during the dinner, I was helping prepare dinner in the kitchen, and my dad and grandpa were talking in the living room, and I thought I heard my name. So I peeked my head in and was like, oh, were you talking about me? And my grandmother goes, oh, why? Are you nervous they're talking about you? Do you maybe have a secret you want to share with the whole family? Essentially trying to force me to come out in front of my entire extended family. Then again, later, she asked me to walk her to her car, and as soon as we were out of earshot of the front door, she wraps her arm around my shoulder and tightens around my neck, pulling me down to her height, as I'm decently tall, and whispers in my ear, don't worry, I still love you, no matter how wrong I think this whole thing is, referring to me being bi. Yeah, crazy. Years later, I had eventually slowly letting her reintegrate herself into my life. She was at my college graduation. She was at some birthday parties, and we sometimes see each other at family events. But she always continues to make comments and push boundaries. I guess you could compare it to losing the rose-colored glasses. I started noticing her manipulative and controlling behaviors again. Her trying to push herself into my life more than I wanted. She would make comments about the fact that I went back to dating men after me and my girlfriend broke up, and said that she was glad my phase was over and that I was back on men. Because
Yeah, well, I won't be. It's not a phase. Me not talking to you, Grandma, is not a phase.
Yeah.
That's going to last forever.
bi women could never go back to dating men. That'd be
No,
crazy.
That's not literally a part of the definition.
That's not how biness works. Just because I predominantly date men doesn't negate the fact that I like women. Didn't realize I'd have to explain that to an adult who's also bi.
It seems like she's also bi.
Now on to the big question. The current reason I'm wanting to go back to low contact. My now fiance, 22 male, yes, male, and I moved into a new apartment recently, and it was a hassle. I'm a stay-at-home fiance, and I did a lot of the moving between apartments by myself while he was at work. But one weekend, he was off, and we finished up the bulk of the moving and cleaned out the old apartment. By the way, we have a bulk of episodes you can listen to with full stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. We do have another update, but what are you thinking?
Honestly, it seems like 98% of your family are incredibly supportive of you, and then we just have this grandma who unfortunately is the first person that you told and sucks. But I think just continue to have that limited contact with her because she is being really awful and unsupportive, and you don't need someone in your life, even though the loss is very hard, and it sucks that you have to go through that. You don't deserve to deal with her being awful to you.
Exactly. But we have an update. We hadn't even unpacked any boxes, really, but we decided we deserved a nap when she called saying, "Which house is yours? I'm in the driveway between a yellow and a green one." I was shocked. She'd used my location to show up unannounced. I didn't even know she had it. When I hesitated, she guilted me about driving all the way here, and that if we weren't ready for company, she'd just drive all the way back home. Being a people pleaser, I let her in, but she just walked around her whole apartment while my fiance just kind of stood there half asleep trying to figure out what was going on. Keep in mind, he hasn't even met her at this point. This is their first time meeting. So eventually she leaves, and me and my fiance just kind of look at each other baffled, kind of just laugh like, what the F just happened? So would I be the a-hole if I went back to low/no contact with her out of the blue for continuing to cross lines after all these years?
No,
And that's the end of that.
you would not be the a-hole.
My mother blames my father for ruining my family, but she's the one who cheated.
She who cast the first stone.
I, 28 female, have always had a pretty dysfunctional relationship with my mother, 58 female. Pretty much my whole childhood, along with my 4 other now adult siblings, has been pretty dysfunctional. And by the way, this comes from Bago Bones 13, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my parents got together a year before I was born, got married when I was 9, and then stayed together until I was around 16. During this time period, they split up every 1 to 2 years and then would get back together. We had to move houses, change jobs, move schools, everything, every 1 to 2 years.
Yikes, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not a healthy example for
Yeah,
you
they were
guys.
like, we're not actually doing it for the children. We're gonna just mess them up as much as possible.
Yeah, that's the goal.
No stability for these kids.
I was turbulent as a child, and it was always my mom's doing. She would threaten to leave because of something my dad was doing or wasn't doing per her standards, and then he would fail her expectations and she would dip, and then my father would attempt to win her back, and so on. When I was 14, my parents purchased what we thought was going to be our forever home. It was a beautiful big farmhouse with a basement in Old Town, Florida. A true gem. It was being foreclosed, so my parents got it for a really cheap contract. My father at the time had his own landscaping business with my siblings and cousins as groundsmen and general employees. My mother was going to dental school and living off financial aid. Life was pretty okay. Until my mother reconnected with an old coworker from 8 years prior, and they developed romantic feelings behind my father's back. My mother didn't realize that I knew of this tidbit. They secretly canoodled and spoke on the phone for a year, and my dad caught her multiple times until I think it affected him mentally. He stopped going on leads, he stopped booking jobs, and he stopped paying his employees, and just overall kind of seemed like he gave up. I could see this as a 14-year-old bystander, so I know she saw this. We weren't getting a lot of money flowing into the house. We ended up being a couple of months behind on rent, or whatever payments were agreed to in the contract. The plan was to pay off rent every month until the house was put up for auction, and then the money we paid would be pulled from escrow and would go towards what we would bid on the house. I'm not entirely sure how it was agreed upon, but my father didn't have money to put down for 3 months. My mom kept telling him that if we lost this house, that this would be it. She was gone for good. My mom got her income tax in month 4 and decided to get a 1-bedroom apartment across town and paid for 8 months rent on it in advance. She left all of us in this house and lived by herself. A month after that, the house was bought back from the bank and we were police escorted from the home and we lost everything. My mom moved in her old coworker and they're still together to this day. Fast forward 15 years later and she still brings up how she'll never forgive my father for losing that house and ruining her whole life.
Girl,
Come on.
let's have some self-awareness.
Please, please. She constantly brings up every fault my father always had through their whole relationship. Every time she speaks about the shortcomings in our childhood, she blames him. She spoke to me on the phone yesterday and mentioned it, and I just snapped. I told her that she can't blame everything that went wrong in the last 20 years only on my father, that she played a part in her life too, which prompted a 4-hour-long tangent of her screaming at me about how she's a victim and did nothing but be patient with my father. She screamed at me about the only thing she did wrong in the marriage was continue to give my father chances after chances. My father never once asked my mother to change who she was. He never once gave her an ultimatum. They had vows through sickness and health, through rich and poor. Am I wrong? And there are some comments, but I want to hear yours first.
You're not wrong.
No.
But also, I think like your mom is like so obviously failed throughout this time. And also your dad's not really innocent. I mean, he keeps trying to get her back, like, which is also kind of messed up your life.
Yeah,
So your parents both kind of suck.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I think we can defend the dad when he's just getting like crapped on more than he needs to be. But yeah, the mom, she really does need some sort of wake up call. Like,
Please.
she can't just blame other people. Comment number 1 says you should have hung up on her. She doesn't seem like the type that will ever be open to hearing the truth of what she's done to others. I'm sorry that she hurt you, your father, and your family so much. I think it's time for you to free yourself of her dysfunction. Maybe you could have one last conversation with her face to face and tell her what she did that negatively affected and hurt you. I'm sure she won't be open and it won't be received well, but you deserve to be heard. Don't let her continue to take up all the oxygen in your life. I know she's your mom, but sometimes we have to let them go. Opie said, yeah, I did let her go off for a while and then woke up to a text this morning of her telling me how horrible of a mother I am to my own child, so now I'm going no contact. We've had issues in the past about me confronting childhood trauma, and she brushes me off and tells me that I'm lying and that she was always a perfect woman. I can't deal with that anymore. Comment number 2 says, so let me get this straight. She cheated, caused the family to lose their home, and she still plays the victim? My jaw is on the floor. You absolutely were not wrong to call her out. And there is an update. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, just keep calling her out, I guess.
Yeah. Good thing that you're going no contact, because for her to say that you are a horrible mother too, and it's like, girl, you are obviously projecting.
Truly, I'm like, okay, pot calling kettle black.
Literally. That's
Take a look in the
so
mirror,
insane.
lady.
But there is an update. So I went no contact with my mom the day I posted this. I was really proud for how strong I was being. I didn't reach out to her at all, and I had a conversation with my 8-year-old son about how we may not see grandma for a while. He was really supportive and acknowledged that he notices how mean she can be to me. I made sure to tell him that he doesn't have to ignore her on my behalf, but he said that he doesn't really want to be around someone who thinks that I'm such a bad mom because he thinks that I'm the best mom in the world. I love that kid. So 2 days ago, she showed up at my work. I worked the next morning shift that day, so I wasn't there. So she showed up at my house. It was 2 a.m. and I was asleep, but my boyfriend, 27 male, woke me up and said that he heard my mom's car pull in. We both waited for her to knock or something, but we didn't hear anything. She yelled my name from outside the back door. My boyfriend got up to investigate, but by the time that he went outside, she was already in her car driving away. We both shrugged and didn't think anything of it. I felt like she was trying to intrigue my interest, and it almost worked, but again, I resisted the urge to reach out to her, even though I felt it may be an emergency. 2 days later, today I'm home with my son again. I hear her car pull into my driveway. This time, I got up and locked the back door. I heard her step up the stairs and attempt to open the door, which is never locked, but she knocked instead. I yelled through the door and asked what she wanted. She said she wanted to talk. I said, about what? She said, you know what? I told her I didn't have any interest in speaking with her. She said that she wanted to see my son. I opened the door and let her in. She immediately started ripping into me about how we both said some nasty things and hurt each other, and that it's been a few days, so it's time to move on. I walked away into the kitchen and told her that she crossed a line and that I wasn't putting up with it anymore. She started yelling about, well, what about the crap you said to me? You always say horrible things to me, and yet when I give it back to you, you do this. That's not fair. I said nothing. I wonder if the horrible things she's talking about is like, hey, you like caused me so much trauma as a child.
Probably.
And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you would say that to me.
So sad.
Can't believe it.
Stop it. That hurts my feelings when you tell me I was a bad parent.
Right. Oh my gosh. She asked me if I was gonna let her take my son. Take?
Huh?
Not even just see? Take?
Take where?
Girl.
How long?
I told her probably not right now. She asked why not. I told her because I don't have to and it's not a good time. Yeah, it's like 2 a.m. right now.
I don't know.
Or was that before?
I think it might have been before.
Okay,
But like still, leave. No.
Yeah, it'll never be a good time. She told me that I can't keep my son from her. I told her that I can do whatever I want. She said that this is between us and that we don't punish the children.
It'd be a punishment to let you take them.
Absolutely.
They probably wouldn't like that.
Absolutely. I told her that I wasn't punishing my child. I was protecting both of our peace. But she was going to fight for our son. And I told her that she should have thought of that before going about how terrible of a mother I am. By the way, I will continue to go on about the fact that we are on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, with full episodes of stories just like this one. Just search OK Storytime. I will always talk about it on and on. But there is a little bit more to the story, but wow.
She's
this
just
woman
never learns anything.
Never.
It's been, like OP's entire lifetime, and she still hasn't learned anything about parenting.
Yeah, it's like such
Being
a
a good person.
relief and like a positive fluke that OP turned out so well.
Yes.
Apparently, and like not like her mother.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
She corrected me, saying that she never said I was a terrible mom. She said that she didn't raise me like this to raise my son the way that I am.
did you raise her though? Did you really raise her though?
Yeah, let's ask these questions. Again, reiterating, stomping on my ability to parent my son. Yeah, she just like said it in a different font.
She's like, I didn't say you weren't a terrible parent. I said you were terrible at parenting.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference.
Exactly. I told her we weren't having this conversation and that if my son wanted to see her, all he had to do is ask me. She told me that he would never ask me because I'll yell at him. I told her I would never yell at him for something like that, and I don't know why she even thinks that. She started screaming at me again and then proceeded to go and berate my son about how I said he can hang out with her. What? All he has to do is tell me that he wants to. And he looked her straight in the face and told her that he didn't feel like it, and she left. I don't know what to do at this point, and that's the end of that story.
I invited my son's ex to a family gathering where he brought his current girlfriend.
Why did you do that?
Why did you do that? I am a 55-year-old mother of 3. Carl, 30, Trista, 27, Nate, 25, male, and grandmother to Rose, 7, female, who belongs to Carl and his ex-girlfriend, Lexi. I am married to Renee, 48, female. My mother, Lynn, is the matriarch of the family, and I am an only child. Backstory. Carl and Lexi, unmarried and dating only a few months, decided to have a baby. They were successful and moved in together. During that time, Carl became close with her dad and grandmother, and they spent a lot of family time skiing at their vacation home. Okay. Their family also included my younger son and his girlfriend. This comes from user Sane 3 kids ago on the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit, please. So... Every summer since 2021, my mother reserves an Airbnb for 7 to 9 days on the lake nearby and invites family, extended family, and friends. We invite my kids' friends, partners, and their families. And invite some other friends of ours who have great relationships with in-laws, exes, and share relationships and friendships with other families. The invite list is pretty long. I like Lexi, her mom, grandma, and dad. When Carl and Lexi broke up, that didn't change. Carl and Lexi were great co-parents. Lexi's parents and I are co-grandparents.
You're just
That's
grandparents.
not a thing.
You're just grandparents.
It's not a thing.
You're just grandparents.
For example, they had a joint birthday party every year for Rose, and we grandparents would coordinate grandparent events at her school. So, of course, I invited them every year to our lake getaway. None of them ever came, but the invite was always there. Last year, Lexi had some very traumatic experiences, so she decided to come be with us and let go a bit. I was really glad because I've been concerned about her. When she was dealing with the stuff, I had asked my son how she was doing, and he answered, I don't know. Have you called her? No. Why would I? Because whatever happened, and she may need some extra support or something. He didn't get it. So I had called her, and she did need support. I don't think he didn't get it. I think he's just like, I'm not the guy who does that anymore.
Like, if it's not child related, it's not really.
It's like there's a lot of people out there who need support right now. Are you going to also tell him he needs to call all of them? Or is it just because it's his ex-wife? But I don't know. It's not. It's weird. It's weird to say that as an ex-husband, you need to be there to comfort your ex-wife in a time of like need.
Yeah, I think, yes, they need to be effective co-parents and there shouldn't be animosity.
Right.
They should be able to, like, you know, if they should be able to talk about the kid. They should be able to, like, communicate and stuff without arguing and whatever. But I don't know if that necessarily means he has to, you know, like in Angel, maybe he, like, if, like, there are some stories where we have people who are have very amicable separations. And they're like, yeah, you know, for the kid, we get along great. I check in, I help, I give money, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't have to do with the child, I don't know why OP necessarily expects.
So I called her, and she did need support. She called me one day and asked if I could take Rose for a night or two, and then came to pick her up early. Mom needs help sometimes, and she is the mom of his daughter.
See,
I digress.
If it's
That's
about
different.
the kid, that's different.
Yeah, that's perfectly
different.
normal.
If he was like, yeah, she called me, and I was like, why are you calling me? But it's about the child. Yes, he should absolutely help her out in that regard. That's totally different.
Yeah. The lake trip last year. Trista, her fiance, and his family were there. My wife's parents were there and some of the kids' friends. Lexi came to the lake on the third day when my daughter was there, Trista, because they are still friends. Carl was stressed because his new girlfriend felt uncomfortable with Lexi being there. He thought it was his fault because he had not talked with her much about the situation as a whole because they had not been together very long. Lexi hung out with us during the day and stayed with a friend who lived nearby at night. Lexi was very nice to her and said, this doesn't have to be weird. The girlfriend didn't have any interest in getting to know her and stayed far away.
Fair.
Carl and she just went off alone a lot and kept to themselves when Lexi was there. It was uncomfortable for everyone.
Did he know that she was coming? Did he tell his girlfriend that she was coming?
It feels
what?
like he knew.
It feels like he knew, right?
Yeah.
It feels like he was like, oh, I didn't realize it would be uncomfortable.
So this wasn't a secret.
Yeah.
Now this is just like everyone here is silly.
If he knew, not on you.
No,
If he knew, it's not on you.
he didn't. But
We don't really know. Yeah. Weird.
it was uncomfortable for everyone. Lexi handled it well, and we all just acted like there wasn't an issue. It was Carl's problem, not ours. Carl had a girlfriend before this one who eventually became friends with Lexi. There were some boundaries that Carl had to set at that time, but all those nuances that you have to work out when parents separate were handled peacefully. I was proud of my son for that. I had some reservations about his girlfriend after the lake. We didn't interact with her until Christmas, and then nothing since then. Okay, she comes with a lot of baggage that I'm not sure she has truly dealt with. I'm not going to share much because it's not mine to share, but I am mindful of it, and I sympathize with her situation. She's 43 and should have gotten the therapy she needs by now. I am not pleased with a girl bringing this type of attitude into my son's and granddaughter's lives. She doesn't have friends, she's estranged from all of her family, she doesn't have furniture, and absolutely zero social media or internet presence. How do you know all this if you only met her once and then at Christmas? That's my question. Background check shows only car, family addresses, and other residents of those addresses.
I'm sorry, you
It's
did
hard to explain.
background checks on your son's girlfriend?
You did a background check on her, and then you're like, it came back clean. I don't get it.
What?
What's going on? It's hard to explain. Since she has only graced us with her presence 3 times over the last year, the only thing we know about her is what we see. So then, again, how did you say she has no friends, she's estranged from all her family, she doesn't own furniture? How do you know all this stuff? You only saw her 3 times,
Why
and
you
she
do
doesn't want anything
background
to do with
check?
you.
So weird.
You're weird. This
So
is weird. We are very accepting and find joy in everyone who comes into the family, but she has just made everyone uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, there's no way that you can be very accepting and do background checks on your son's girlfriend. Your adult son's girlfriend. That's not accepting
She's
behavior.
43.
That's weird.
Rose's birthday was a mess. He did nothing, and Lexi invited us to the party she was giving for Rose. Carl didn't respond to texts from his brother or sister asking if he was having a separate party or going to this one. Everyone went to Lexi's party, but Carl wasn't there. He didn't go to his own daughter's birthday party. Maybe he is going to do his own thing. He has been invited to other events, dinners, and such this year, but doesn't show up. He's told me that his girlfriend doesn't feel comfortable around us because the last time she was around, we talked about his previous girlfriend who doesn't even live on the same continent and has kept in touch with Lexi, Trista, and Rose. No one dislikes her, but no one likes her either. What's to like? So this year, my mom, Lynn, the matriarch of the family, said Lexi was invited, as well as her dad and grandmother, just like every other year. She enjoyed having her there last year, and she wants her to be there again, and I agree. She's going to be there a couple days and said she won't spend the night if Carl is there. Here is how Carl responded when he found out. He tried to uninvite Lexi by text, saying we didn't get his permission. I told her to ignore him.
What?
She's coming. You're a bad mom for that. You are
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
You're being a bad mom.
He texts her, he probably says, hey, they didn't ask me. I'd prefer if you didn't come. My girlfriend's going to be there. And then she goes behind his back and says, ignore him. You're coming. Huh?
Yeah.
What?
Bad. Then he decided he would go when Lexi wasn't there. Okay. That was his boundary. When I informed him the dates of the 3 days that she was going to be there, he said I should have checked with him first, and he did not want her to be there.
Yeah.
My mom put her foot down and said she's coming, and he could do with that what he wants. All right, I would not go,
Just
and
not
I would
go,
also
yeah.
stop talking to you.
Yeah,
all.
I'm sorry. Like, what is going on? You
Like-
are ruining your relationship with your son.
For the last 3 months, we've discussed this. His position is that co-parenting to this extent is not normal. I should have known not to invite Lexi because of what happened last year. I knew the girlfriend was uncomfortable and he didn't want his ex on his vacation. I'm creating the drama. Last but not least, we will see how Granny feels about this after the trip. I think it's hilarious that he thinks he's going to teach my mom a lesson. The points are, he's not in charge. He's not paying for it. It's not his vacation. Co-parenting is what is best for Rose, whether normal or not, and the girlfriend can deal with it or not. That's his issue. Again, this is just like if you would have told him Lexi's going to be there again, he could have been like, all right, then I guess I won't be bringing my girlfriend to the lake house so that there's not an uncomfortable dynamic.
And also, I personally, he never said co-parenting is not what's best for my kid. He said co-parenting in this way, where you're inviting my ex to like family vacations, is weird. That's what he said.
Yeah, because then it's going to be mixed signals, because then it's like they are broken up and not together. And then Rose is going to be like, wait, but my parents are still spending all this time together. Are they together? Why aren't my mom and dad like spending time together? It's confusing.
And two, why do you think that you know best? I'm assuming that your son and your son's ex have figured out a parenting agreement that they, at least, both are chill with. May not be the best one, may not be something you agree with. Doesn't matter, because you're not their child's parent. So stop getting involved with their agreement. You might not agree with it. Doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter.
She can't feel comfortable around us. That has more to do with her issues than with us. You background checked her 3 times. By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Just search for OK Storytime. And you can listen to almost 8 days worth of stories. So, we've always been kind to her. We are not going to change how we do things because he has a girlfriend who doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, his girlfriend also doesn't like it. He doesn't like it.
Yeah. Your son. My son is livid. I don't know who he is anymore. Your son is a man who's no longer married to Lexi. I think that's your fundamental misunderstanding. He hardly talks to Lexi about Rose. He has not let me see my granddaughter for 3 weeks. I used to have her weekly. He has decided not to go to the lake at all now and is not allowing Rose to go on the days he has her, which is half the trip.
What did you think was going to happen? You literally said, well, he doesn't have the power. He's not paying for it. Well, he's exercising the power he does have.
He has free will.
Sucks to suck, girl.
The power of I can choose to not go.
Yeah, he went, okay, you're going to pull that? I'm not going, and my daughter's not going because she's my daughter. You're so silly, OP. You're so silly.
My daughter was able to get her fiance's niece, who is friends with Rose, there this year. She even tried to talk to her brother about Rose because she wants time with her at the lake when she is not there. Rose is sweet, so she won't make a stink, but she cried to me about it, and I feel guilty.
You should.
But I'm angry that he is using his daughter this way. This is your fault.
Your fault. You did everything. Literally, simplest solution.
I'm seeing all these comments coming up about like, well, it's like the mother of your child and you have to deal with them. This is a 1-week vacation.
Yeah. And he said, I don't want my ex to be, it's not. Like,
she doesn't need to be there.
She doesn't need to be there.
And he even made the compromise. He's like, all right, I'll just be there the days that she's not, I guess. And it's like, nope, that's also not allowed. You're not allowed to do that at all. So he's like, then I'm not going. And now you're going to say it's his fault and he's using his daughter as a prop? You're crazy. Am I and my mom the a-holes for standing firm on this?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, like,
you literally, the crazy thing is that she literally went, what's he going to do? I have all the power. And then went, oh no, he had something that I wanted. Oh no, there were consequences to what I did. I tried to insert myself into his family and it backfired.
That's the end of the episode, guys, and stream.
Yeah. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.